Check, check, check. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, that means you're now tuned into chapter 92 of the Introverted Intuition podcast. My name is Jeff, a.k.a. the Petty Podcaster, a.k.a. the Ambitious Introverts.
Hey, Jeff. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we didn't start?
Yeah, I need to start over.
Oh, that was so perfect. I was in my zone. Damn, I'm not going to get that back.
No, I have faith.
You will.
Someone else do it, please.
No.
Damn, can someone else go?
No,
Do it.
sorry.
You got
Come
it.
on, Jeff.
Do it again. Hold on one sec.
I'm excited.
Henny in your cup.
That's right.
Should did a shot.
There's enough for here it goes.
I'm trying to go so I didn't eat like that much. So.
This guy.
Make an announcement. Somebody could have brought you a snack.
Oh, y'all just Uber now? Uber Eats? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Shit.
You haven't started something.
I know, right?
Asking for mad food.
Right.
All right, she ready?
Damn it.
Yeah, she's ready. She's ready. Check, check, check. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, that means you're now tuned into chapter 92 of the Introverted Intuition podcast. My name is Jeff, a.k.a. the Petty Podcaster, a.k.a. the Ambitious Introvert. As always, I got my co-host with me. Say what's up, y'all.
What's up?
Hola.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man CR908 representing Jump Out the Frame. What's good?
Man, you always have your elaborate, like, spiel.
Yes, these people need
And
to
you
know
always
who it
He was
is.
saying
on
hello
it.
today. He was just like
They
saying,
need to know.
No, I mean, I appreciate it, but like
Okay,
you
good.
two always are like always playing like, hi, hey.
You don't have a regular intro.
It's good. It's out of this world. That's why I know it's not regular.
Exactly.
It's
It's
perfect.
not.
Right,
It's
thank
not
you.
I
regular.
would change nothing.
Before we introduce our guests, I just want to announce, or I guess formally announce the event that we helped coordinate for June
Yes.
21st, Press Play, in association with Young Atlas, Airs Entertainment, What You Expect Podcast, Views from the Bottle. It's basically just a giant ass networking event, right? Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it's from my perception of the event is like I don't really believe in competition anymore. I definitely believe in the concept of everyone just working together, coming together, and just creating. Because competition is kind of overrated in my opinion, and I feel the only way we'll all grow and get to where we want to be is if we work together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Press Play means to me, and that's June 21st, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And yeah,
Is it in Soho, right?
is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Well, the address is on the flyer and on our Instagram page at Introverted Intuition Pod, and the link to RSVP is in the bio. So yeah, go do that, please.
Word.
Show up and support.
We'll all be there.
We'll all be there. If you want
It's
to
gonna be
finally
lit.
get your chance to holler at Coco or Laney,
Oh,
you could do
Lord.
that in person. If you're not comfortable DM them, you could just go up to them in person and see what
Why?
Why
happens.
do I feel like every episode on some level you try to pimp us out or some shit?
No,
In
people,
some way, he
people
just
like
throws
y'all
it
though.
in there.
I'm trying to help the
wonderful.
fellas out. People
It's
really like
wonderful.
y'all. Like I'm tired of them asking me for your
Oh, I
information.
see what you're saying. Okay.
So I'm just trying to get it all
It
out
was,
there.
Roundabout way.
You know, it was the exact same thing when I brought him to my cousin's event in Brooklyn, the
yeah.
brunch.
Right.
The brunch that started at 5 p.m., right? What the fuck was
It's
that?
Brooklyn,
That was some
people.
shady shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't go.
It was not
It was still a
shady.
brunch though.
It
They
was
had
fun.
mimosas.
I saw
they
no
had
food in any
unlimited-
pictures.
The
But we
food was
did-
good.
I saw
I
y'all
didn't
in
eat.
I
drinks.
didn't eat.
Yeah,
I
we had
just thought
salad.
about
What are you
that.
talking about? We
Oh,
had-
yeah, we did.
Oh my God.
I
this
was
one
high.
here.
All right.
When are you not high? You high
He was
now?
high after.
No, not really.
Can we
Well,
introduce the guest now?
Huh?
Yes, let's
Yes.
introduce the guy.
Yes, let's get to the.
We're going to have a mini podcast before we introduce the
Yes.
guests. The two guests we have with us tonight are two people I'm a fan of. I got introduced to your podcast about a year ago. And a year ago, I actually tried to work with y'all, but co-host issues and figuring out the show. But a year later, finally made it happen. So please introduce yourselves.
Ladies first.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl Naima Simone of Sophisticated Ignorance. How are you?
You.
And I am Steven of Sophisticated Ignorance as well. I was a little jealous. Like, y'all got little monikers and everything. Like, I'm just straight government. That's it. Like,
You know what's crazy? I
no
actually thought-
AKAs, no none of that.
I thought of new nicknames for them too, so I want to keep the nickname train
no.
going, like as much as I can. I think it's cool, like. But the only thing about me is I'm corny because I gave myself my nicknames. I wasn't cool enough to like have someone else give.
You
them
ain't
to
got to
me.
tell nobody that, though.
And this
It's
is what
already
I've
been
been
done, though.
telling
That's
him.
been like a big issue for him.
You
Like,
don't know what you're saying.
I want to be given a nickname like, but something like cool though. But
What is his nickname?
petty podcaster.
no, but I gave myself that.
But I
it's
think
okay.
it's so
Wow.
dope.
It fits really well.
Yeah.
Alright. Y'all making me feel good, but like I still
Oh,
do y'all want nicknames? Like, have y'all thought about nicknames for yourself?
Someone brought it up, but
Really? Who?
yeah, Vixen, because he has like.
Never mind. Never mind.
Vixen has no opinion here. Is that what you're
Vixen
saying?
couldn't be here today, so we're just gonna pick on him.
My goal as I get to know y'all is to come up with good nicknames for y'all by the end of this episode.
Oh,
So
Lord
look out for that.
Jesus. All right.
We'll see what happens.
Setting
That'd be
goals.
This
dope.
is gonna
Okay.
be good.
Word. So how did Sophisticated Ignorance come about? How did y'all meet? Where y'all from? Who are y'all?
Start
But
Yes.
before you answer, with the name, Sophisticated Ignorance, can you just explain that? Because that's so
Catchy.
dope.
Yeah, it's
That's-
pretty
that's a
catchy.
good
To be quite honest, it's funny because I was just having a conversation with a coworker about this. Like, that was literally like the first name I thought of. Like, I didn't have no other options, nothing like that. It was just Sophisticated Ignorance.
It's
That's
such
it.
an oxymoron. It's like,
Yeah, because I'm a big believer in like duality. So like
Word.
me and Naima are friends from high school. So we had we've been going on for like what 10 plus years, almost 10.
Almost 10, yeah.
So we would just have conversations on the phone till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning about any and everything. So we would talk
Brown
about real
sugar.
shit, talk about like
Sounds like a brown sugar movie.
so we would talk about like real serious shit, and like I play all day. So every
Makes sense.
situation, that too, like every situation, I'll just have jokes for it. So it kind of fit with the brand of who we are as individuals and the show itself. Like we give some solid advice sometimes, but for the most part, we just talking shit.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the
Yeah.
name just came to you immediately. That was like my hardest part when even coming up with the idea to do a podcast.
Yeah, because everybody remembers the line from that.
Kanye?
Yeah, from the Kanye song, the Kanye and Jay-Z song. So for whatever reason, that just stuck with me.
Oh, yeah, I remember that bar.
Sophisticated
Ignorance, I
ignorance,
write my curses in cursive. Ooh.
Yeah. So
all
that
music
always
heads.
stuck with me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna make a show based off of that, and the first thing I did was just make sure there was nobody else with that name. And there was like maybe 2 or 3,
Yeah.
but they only had like 4 episodes in. So I was like, all right, they a dub.
Yeah.
Get 'em
It's
outta
quiet.
here.
It's
Had
quiet.
to get
Where they
Taking
at now?
over.
Get 'em
Quiet
outta
for them.
Yeah,
Completely
they ain't here
taken
right
over.
now.
If they even
Like,
dare drop a new episode,
Yeah.
we're sending a cease and desist.
There you go. There you
Did
go.
we at the that was your people's, right?
Yeah, it was like another podcast show come out with the same name.
Really?
I sent like a big blast on my Instagram story, like everybody go to this page underneath they post and be like,
Get out of
yeah,
here.
and
Yeah,
we did it. And
just
now
re-
they
regular
don't
booking
exist
shit.
anymore.
I like that.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
gangster.
Wow.
Don't exist. Anymore.
Y'all don't feel bad.
That's-
Y'all might have
All
crushed their
we
dreams.
have- No, no, no.
That
Right.
sounds, that sounds like a
Yeah.
personal issue to
No.
be
They
quite
probably
honest.
gave up podcast.
No, I'm with you.
They should
I'm
have
with
did their
you.
research first.
That's
I'm
true.
with you.
Cause it was even like we was early in it. We was like a good maybe
Almost 2.
like a good year in, and they came up,
Totally.
and I was
Oh,
like,
hell no.
Totally
Yeah,
took
got
y'all
it.
side.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to get y'all
Look,
started.
sorry if you're listening. Sorry.
no more place
Sorry
for you.
about that.
Get a new name.
I hope you didn't quit.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think they did.
Yes. But enough about that.
They quit.
Yeah, but enough about
Enough
them.
about that.
They probably quit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, so y'all met in high school?
Yeah.
How did y'all? Do y'all remember when y'all met? Like first met?
No, I'll
She
tell the story.
claims
I'll tell the
That
story.
we was cool, but I do not
I
recall
never
this
said
at.
we were all right. So let me tell the story.
Yes.
They've had this conversation
Steven
before.
likes to pick on me. He likes to tell the same story all the time.
Uh-huh.
So we weren't exactly friends, but I was friends with someone on the basketball team. And Steve was on the basketball team with him. So I was in charge of like the yearbook and dances. So I kind of knew everyone. That was my job to know everyone. So I would just see Steven and say hi. But you would never say hi back. I'm like, well, he's rude.
I
Rude,
did not know you.
audacity. But I was just one of the people who just say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, hi, how are you? You know, little weird
friendly.
kid. And then like I'm on all the committees, so that girl who gets on your nerve. Like, did you sign up yet? That was me.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say hi to you either. Don't ask me 3 times. in
I
the
don't
same
even
day.
remember it. I don't even
Yeah, sign
remember
up
it,
for
and he
BSU.
co-signed.
Nah.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember that, and he
Then
co-signed.
like years later, we just got close again.
Oh.
Yeah, I
And
think
we
through
were friends since.
Facebook.
Yeah, and then, like our mutual friend Jermaine, who
Yeah.
also picks on me. So it just works.
Oh, okay. And then what was like? There was like a defining moment, like maybe a conversation y'all had. And he was like, okay, maybe we should have this being recorded and have people listen to our conversations.
I think I just recently, we started the show in 2016, and I had just started to listen to podcasts. Free Tax, that was like a big podcaster that I followed, Tax Dome. And then I was like kind of going back and forth of like trying to find a studio where I'm going to do this. We bought like this bullshit $100 equipment that we never, me and V had,
Yeah.
V had came to my crib trying to figure out how to make that shit work. We spent like the whole day, couldn't figure it out. And it was like, cause I came up with the idea in like January,
Yeah.
and we didn't start the show until like September. So
Yeah.
like probably maybe August. That's when I bought the equipment. Couldn't figure that shit out, and I was like, let me do one last Google search, and I found the studio that we record at now. and we was like, all right, we just gonna just do this shit. Because a little bit before that, like, I was going back and forth, like, how can I, spend money on studio time? I got work and all this other shit. And I remember Tax specifically had tweeted somebody because somebody had asked him, like, yo, how should I start a podcast? And he literally just said, just do it. It was simple as that. Just do it. And I was like, all the, like, fear and, reluctancy of just doing the shit, I was like, let me just do it. Whatever happens, happens. We could either keep on going or it just wasn't meant to be. And September's going to make it 3 years.
Yeah. And I just
Nice.
tagged along.
Aww.
Just tagging along.
It seems like y'all like that's like a natural, like an easy thing to do. Like a podcast, you're already cool with each other, so it's just like just be how you are regularly behind a microphone.
But see, myself, like, I'm so, like, a perfectionist, so I didn't want to just do the shit just for the sake of doing the shit. Like, I care about the quality of what I put out. Like, my name is attached to it. So even prior to starting the show, I probably had, like, five months worth of content already just jotted down. Like, I didn't want to just do the shit and just, like, oh, this is what we do just for the sake of, oh, it's kind of trendy or whatever. It was like, nah, this is my brand. This is what I stand behind, and you got to respect it. Like, it's going to be different than everybody else's shit, and that's it at the end of the day.
I think that's the strategy you should take with anything you want people to take serious. You got to take it serious first.
Yeah, because even now, it's like there's so many more podcasters that I see now in comparison to when I started. I'm like, y'all ain't going to last. Like, y'all just bullshit.
And
kinda
longevity,
tell,
longevity is the difference. That's
Yeah.
true. Very true.
Consistency, definitely, yeah.
We're and like look what we're doing though. Just talking into a microphone, getting to know each other, talking. Anyone like just on the outside looking in would just be like, I could do that too. But there's no real substance to it. And then like I'll admit, like when I first jumped into this podcasting thing, like I had no confidence. I just wanted to do it because I was inspired by like other podcasts, and then it kind of turned into like a bigger thing, bigger than me, like a bigger mission. So yeah, that's where we at with it. But I'm a fan of y'all, like y'all show.
I appreciate it.
Like y'all have some dope guests too. Like
We try.
have y'all done many episodes like without guests, or do you prefer having guests?
We've done a few without having guests.
Yeah, we've done the majority
Yeah.
without guests.
Yeah.
I'd probably say of what we're on, like 116.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a good 30 are with guests. Everything else is just us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm starting to prefer like just us.
We
Sometimes
went
just
through
because
that
like
phase.
it's kind of nerve wracking every time like to just meet new people and like because I am really introverted and I do get mad anxious before every interview, so it's just like meeting new people is like because you gotta like they already read the pitch email and they were impressed by that and they probably listened to a few episodes, but like we still gotta show up, you know what I mean? So it's still tough.
Do y'all feel
And I
the
think
same way? Like
I think the biggest factor when it comes to like guests is like determining what can they bring. Like, because there's a lot of people that aren't, maybe have a huge social media following or they just popular for, whatever reason.
Yeah.
But what are they going to bring when they come to your show? Like, are they going to give you like a groundbreaking story, or are they going to be funny, or are they going to be engaging?
or informative, right?
Yeah, like we've had a couple guests that, they're cool people, nothing against them, but the quality of what came out wasn't really anything captivating.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody that, could be a complete stranger and we just vibe off the rip and it's like a great content. So
Have you ever had to like scrap an interview? Like you were just listening back and it was like, no,
we've
there's
never
nothing
deleted
here.
an
Okay.
episode,
It is
never.
what it is
Damn.
once it's put out there.
Yeah, never
But
deleted
I
an
almost did
episode.
that. I
But-
almost did that.
But did you have that mindset like when you were interviewing this person that was super whack and you were just like,
Oh, as soon as the mics are,
Crack.
as soon as the time is up, I already know like the quality of it. Like either if I feel like I ain't laughing enough, it's like all right, then people ain't gonna fuck with this, or it's gonna be like they gotta take it for what it is and
Steven's
then move
really
on.
good with his game face. I am not. So if
I don't
it's
look at your
something-
face while we record.
Listen here.
So if the energy is off and I'm not really feeling it, I'm very quiet. And we also do YouTube. Vixen records us. So a
I
lot
don't
of
watch
times,
those.
oh, it's really bad. 'Cause I'm trying to work on myself. So a lot of times,
Please
the
do.
video like, girl, if you don't start making that face, like
Yeah.
they know you're not feeling it.
I'm the same, man.
no.
So yeah, it's been times. I appreciate we didn't have the camera in the room then when I was just like stone faced. Like, and I was thinking about it today. Like I remember one time I fell asleep for like 10 seconds during the
Stop
interview.
it.
Shout out to that
Wait,
guest.
which
Word.
episode?
Don't
Say that later.
y'all talk about
Nah,
that
say it on
offline,
air.
man. No. Oh my
Damn.
god.
I think those been very few though.
Very few. And that was like early on.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
yeah.
we're
There's a
pretty
couple
good
people I
without
want to
that.
bring back just for the sake of like, cause
Give them
even
another chance.
not even that, cause sometimes
Look at her face.
came out.
Hey
I
yo.
didn't even know I did that.
Not even that. It's because sometimes as a host, you may not do the proper job because you may not ask the right questions to like get
That's
them,
true.
you know,
Get 'em
like
going.
Tabria. I want to bring back Tabria for an episode. Like there's a couple people.
I was coming up with my best questions after the interview's over, and I just like, damn, why didn't I write that down and ask that? Like, that's happened so
Yeah,
many
that's
times.
another thing. Like you really got to do your research. Like we don't just bring anybody on the show. For the most part, it's like really close friends, and then somebody that I may respect for whatever it is that they do. Like I don't even think there's been anybody that's requested to be on our show that we've actually brought on. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them. It's like if I can't figure out a dope episode, like if I don't feel like I could sit down and talk to you for an hour, there's no reason for me to bring you on.
So what's like the determining factor? Because like we're actually going through that now with people actually requesting to come on,
Mm-hmm.
and they have followings and stuff like that. But it's just like I don't know if I'll even vibe with you. Like, what is the determining factor for you? Is it following? Is it just what they're doing? Or
Following doesn't. I mean, following does matter because it does bring attention. But at the same time, it's like if I'm not the host, like would I listen to this person because they're on the show? Like, what is it that they're gonna bring to the show? Like, are you gonna bring some information that we may not be aware of? Are you gonna, you just a great personality and you got jokes and you got shit to say? Like, that's usually my determining factor. Because for the people that we've declined, is mainly like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I started this little business, and
I want to
trying.
come on.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, bro. I'm
y'all,
sorry.
Do y'all get the music requests? Like, can you like play my
For
music
my
on your show?
for my music part, yeah.
Oh my
Get
For
that
my
love.
Yeah, culture.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know we get a lot of those requests.
I'm sick of it.
I didn't even
I'm
know.
sick of music. Like, I don't want to even hear. I don't want to hear your music.
Nah.
Like,
Now,
I'm all
now we
about-
understand the rants that he sometimes
Nah, yo, like
That's
goes
so
into.
funny.
I'm all about like, and I want to come off like I'm like this big shot and like I can't have you on because I think your shit is trash. But like, I think your shit is trash, so I don't
Okay,
want to talk.
that's really
Nah,
what it is.
you
Like,
gotta
Yeah,
be
like-
honest though. Yeah, you gotta be honest because I know when like a lot of artists and like a lot of producers just send me their stuff like on my DM or whatever for me to check out, and they want me to work with them and shit. And I'll be real honest, like, hey, you know what? I think you need to work on this because like you know what I'm saying. Like if it's not good, I can't vibe with it. But if it's good, yo, you're gonna know I fuck with it. I'm like, yo, I just sent this link to like 3 people. This shit's fire. But if you don't get that, it's like nah.
Yeah, and you got to work on your pitch too. You can't just hop in the DMs and be like, "Yo, can you play this on your show?" Like,
That shit's annoying.
Thankfully, yeah, we don't
bro.
get no DMs.
You
Just
I-
email
yeah.
the
us.
podcast page, no, right?
Nah, not even my personal page.
My personal page, I get that a lot.
the DMs.
Yeah,
To be on the show,
You got crazy
Yeah.
I
DMs.
have lately.
I
yeah.
really don't. I don't.
Really?
we'll talk about this off here.
Lying, the lies.
Does it have to be off there? I'm kinda-
I just want to
kinda
know.
curious.
I just want to know who try to shoot they shot. Like I just want to laugh.
They be a bunch of weirdos.
Yes,
but,
indeed.
That's
yeah,
funny.
just strange.
Just not worth answering.
Can we have an episode dedicated to like women's DMs? Like,
Yo,
Absolutely.
word. I want to know because I know y'all probably get the craziest
My
messages.
DMs don't be crazy. Like I don't get.
It gets wild
I
in
don't
there.
get any-
I got a
no
lot
one
of
really
female
approaches me
friends,
in my
and I've
DMs or
seen
anything
a lot
like
of crazy
that.
shit.
Same.
I'm happy to say I do not have those problems
Yeah.
in my
Yeah,
real
I
life.
don't get crazy. I
don't
get some weirdos, but not
Yeah,
crazy.
like every
I
now
don't
and
get
then it'll be
anything. I'm
something.
talking to my friends and my cousins all day in DMs.
I feel
We're
that.
just
for
sharing
content
memes.
purposes, I want you to get DMs though. So
But I do
I'm gonna
not
make
get
that happen.
DMs.
I'm gonna facilitate that somehow.
Don't
the content.
facilitate that know-how.
It's for the content.
It's gonna be a
have
new
Get
segment.
out of here.
It's for the content, yo.
Yeah,
You gotta
you
make
gotta win.
sacrifices.
Oh,
Anything
my
for the
Lord.
art.
You gotta make sacrifices, yo.
Shit.
Sometimes I do send Steven screenshots and like he
I guess I'm
posted
just-
on the podcast page.
And this just
Oh,
be
yeah.
And
hilarious.
it's been hilarious. Like text message, I'm like, look at this, and the next day I wake up like he posted it.
Oh,
like, why did you
no.
post
That's
it?
what he asked
Oh my
for.
God.
Yeah.
He know what's up.
So if you had like an elevator pitch just to describe your show in a few words, like what would it be?
Sheesh. That right there, sheesh.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally what it is. It's, the sophisticated side is us, having intellectual conversations, but the ignorant shit is like, we gotta throw our jokes in there. Like, we don't talk about current events. It's really topic based, like shit you would just talk about with any of your friends. We've done mental health episodes. We've done casual encounters. We talked about any and everything for the most part. Like,
casual encounters.
I'm like, casual encounters. What made you say like what made it be that title? There's so many ways to phrase casual encounters
I don't even
without
remember
saying
what-
casual
What was
encounters.
the name of that episode?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember the name of the episode. We did do an episode. I came up with when we spoke about why cheating is a good thing.
That was interesting.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I definitely put a disclaimer on that one.
Hold up.
We did an episode
That sounds
about,
interesting.
Like, we did
Yeah.
an episode about
Why did you put?
boys.
I'm sorry. Why did you put a disclaimer on that one?
I do not co-sign any of the words that Naima stated on that episode about cheating is okay. You ain't gonna be ruining shit for me out here. Nope.
That's interesting. I gotta find that episode.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily agree with it, but
It was
It
just a
might be okay.
lot of nodding
She
on
made
my
s-
part.
She probably made some valid points, I bet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
cool.
say anything on that. I'm not gonna.
See?
Yeah.
Smart
Stay-
guy.
stay
Smart
out.
guy.
Stay out.
do what y'all
No,
do.
I
Your
want to
brand.
though. Like I'm mad curious. Like what was like the consensus? Like
Does it have to be cheating? Maybe cheating could be turned into personal space, giving people space.
No, it's
Uh-oh.
definitely cheating.
She's like, nope.
Nah, it was definitely
It's
fucking.
cheating.
I can see how cheating is healthy in some relationships, honestly.
So we went through
That was a while ago too.
polygamy and polyamorous relationships and stuff like that. How
Yeah.
people can still view that as cheating, but for some people it's a lifestyle. So that's like one of the twists and turns I took in that episode. The benefit of cheating.
And it's
Okay.
funny you said because I had a recent conversation with a friend on Sunday, and we were speaking about how polyamorous relationships, if done properly, can work really well. But if there's a miscommunication between everybody in a relationship, because at the end of the day, whoever you're dealing with is always going to be one stronger connection than another. Like somebody's always going to be feeling left out, or maybe not even left out. It's just going to be just different connections all around. So how do people like really deal with that moving forward? If you really can't deal with that, then you can't really say you want to be polyamorous.
Right.
Yeah, shouldn't just.
You
You
shouldn't
shouldn't
just do
get
it. You
in.
should
Yeah.
just go be
By yourself.
monogamous. Yeah, by yourself.
Yeah.
For me, it basically comes down to finances. If we're going to be in that kind of relationship, I need to make sure that I am
Get them
stable.
coins, sis.
You know, she's
African with it.
Things
She's like, if
are, you know,
One
financial
house.
wise, you can take care of the house and the children. We're all contributing somehow. Otherwise, it's just not going to make sense for me. We're all of us together and we're still struggling.
Right.
One wife
For
gets
me,
a new
I
car,
can't.
the other wife gets a new car. That's
There
how I
you
see
go.
it.
Everybody
you
gets a
can't
car.
say- Yeah,
Oprah.
like if
You
one-
get a car.
one wife
You get a
car,
car.
the next
Everybody gets
wife
a
get a new
car.
car. Like
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah, makes sense.
Word.
I mean, I understand it. I think it definitely does depend on the individual. Like, I've considered, like, not personally, but just the thought of it. Like, I can understand logically why it makes sense for some people, but it definitely takes a different type of mindset. You can't have that monogamous mindset for that at all. Because
Yeah.
your
I
heart-
I
But I'm
definitely
sure there's
can't do it.
jealousy in
It's somewhat,
in
yeah.
those relationships and
I
polyamorous
think,
relationships
but it's
too. I
only
think, but
when you
it's
don't have that. You have to have the mindset of you
Yeah.
can really like if you're in a polyamorous relationship and you're jealous, then that either speaks highly of you as you're just a jealous person, or you shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
But I think it's also
Yeah.
human to have those feelings. So it's like if you're in that situation and those feelings come up, if you're communicative
Right.
enough, you know, you can talk through it.
Yeah.
And
You
it's a level
know?
of trust.
It's
Yeah.
healthy jealousy, then it's just downright crazy bitch jealousy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So-
Yeah.
And trust is a big factor. For me, it has to be trust and then finances.
That's
I
important.
respect that,
With
though.
That is
trust and
important.
finances.
Yeah.
Everything
Yes.
else is. I always tell people, I love myself just fine. Sometimes you don't need the other person to love you. You need them to respect you because
Right.
with respect comes just admiration of pure love and everything else. And then finance is like a really big part. Like, please
With
pay
anything,
me.
even in marriage, you
Definitely,
know, like
yeah.
you may love the person, but it's still a business.
It
like,
is.
where are we going? Like, what are we adding to this relationship? What are we investing in? Like,
It's so funny. I've always
Yeah.
thought of marriage. I've never been married, but I've always thought of marriage as that. You know, it's a
Yeah. It's an
partnership. You know,
investment.
you
Yeah,
both
definitely
have
a
to,
partnership. Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
get better. Like, you know, be your best. You know.
But where's like
working
the
on it.
line of like finances, right? Like, so what if I'm on the way up, but I have like a certain amount set up? Is there a certain amount they have to have, or like do they have to
Like,
be,
what's the
do
criteria?
they have to be doing?
Yeah.
I think
don't-
it's levels, different levels for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
if we was both struggling together, then yeah, it shouldn't. If we was both struggling together and everything, then yeah, that doesn't matter. Like, we're gonna come up together. Everybody's gonna be taken care of on some level. Even if I leave you, I'm still gonna take care of you because it's just the right thing to do.
What if I'm just like a creative, right? And I just like I'm not really getting too much money, but like you see my passion, you see my drive. Like, is that enough?
are
When
you
somebody
Depends
who
on the
really loves
person.
you,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
See, there's different levels. See, it seems like you're just on the path of like, I'm gonna love you, but my love comes. Don't take this the wrong way, but my love comes with stipulations and conditions.
We can go with that. I'm not going to
feel-
deny it. Like, I'm a
makes
very
sense.
loving
Like,
person.
And I feel like
wanna-
that's
wanna get-
realistic too,
Yeah,
because I
wanna-
feel like everybody's love is in some shape or form conditional.
Right.
I don't believe in unconditional
Then
love.
you know that this
I
is
don't.
Why I cannot. This is why I honestly cannot date anymore because there's a lot of people who no longer believe in unconditional love, and
I don't
everything
think
comes
so.
with conditions and stipulations. So if I have to like adapt to that world now, you know, you're gonna hate my stipulations and conditions
Yeah, and I've learned
because the cost
that
you a lot.
based on my last relationship
Yeah.
that I was in. So I'm newly single now, so I'm dating, I'm learning different things, and I'm learning what I want and what I don't want. And my passion, the way I work, and what I want for myself, I needed somebody who has that same passion, who's still just as hungry. I am a hopeless romantic, down to the bottom of my toes. I am, but at the same time, shut up. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I can take care of myself. Can you take care of us? Because if needs be, I can hold us both down, but I need that same energy from you. And if I can't get that same energy, then I don't want to be bothered.
So then your
It's
love,
important.
excuse me, sorry, I'm like in two different mindsets today. So your love doesn't come with conditions. You just built a wall around your heart.
In a sense, yeah. But I've had to. Because I have to be
She ain't
able
condition
to,
or stipulation.
I have
She's
to
just
be
guarded,
able to
y'all. Don't listen
protect-
to
I
her.
have to protect myself and be smart at the same time. You
And
know,
I get
feel
that.
a
That's
lot of
growth.
times when you're in love, you forget to, have boundaries. So I'm
Yeah.
working on my boundaries at
You
the
ever
same
heard
time.
that nice little saying, when you're in love, your heart fills as your brain empties?
So I'm
So-
trying.
I've
I'm
heard
actually
that.
trying to work on that. Like have a
Understood.
happy
Medium.
Yeah, and not give too much and not take too much. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Balance.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here, but I appreciate it.
It evolved naturally.
So,
Right.
thank you. Now, Steve, you're so, very quiet over there.
I'm just chilling, man.
And you're
Like,
just
I'm
like-
He's like,
ready.
You
fuck
had to put the
love. What's
disclaimer.
that?
He put
Yeah.
the disclaimer saying, I don't believe in cheating. So let's talk about you.
Yeah, like I'm
Does your love is
completely,
unconditional or
I'm completely
stipulations?
monogamous
Oh,
kind of
wow.
guy. Like I can't, like, if I like you on that level, like I invest in you. So the idea of trying to invest in multiple people, not gonna happen.
It's tiring.
Yeah. And then for me right now at this point, it's like I'm just more so focused on my career at this point. Like if somebody comes along, then that's great, but it's not really something I'm looking for at this moment.
And that's why I
think
always
that
said
was
it.
my question, but I think no disrespect, but it was, do you love with conditions or stipulations? Conditions and stipulations or unconditionally?
Definitely would have to have some sort of conditions because of who I am as an individual. Like, there's certain things that I like, there's certain things I don't like, and it's either you got to take it or leave it. Like, we got to be on the same wavelength in that sense.
I'm curious, before you guys even started the podcast, was like doing a podcast ever on your vision board? Like, was it ever an idea in your head to be talking to multiple people around the country, expressing your opinion?
Not at all.
No, I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
It's still weird to me to know that someone's listening. Someone else is
Yeah.
listening to me.
Yeah.
And Steven will always say, "You are a personality. Like you have a brain." I'm like,
You
"No
the
one's
star.
listening to me."
She's
I'm
the
like,
star.
No one cares.
Yeah.
And then someone to DM me, I'm like, "Oh, they heard me say that." Oh, hey.
I can say both of you guys are stars. I'm a fan. Like, I've listened to before.
We
having you
nowhere
on,
near.
and,
We
like,
still babies in the game.
No, same. But like, I mean, I would definitely respect what you're doing. It's definitely
Appreciate it.
inspiring.
Admirable,
Like,
yes.
I feed off other podcast energies. I feed off other creatives' energies, and I'm grateful.
I
for what y'all
appreciate
doing,
that.
for real.
Yeah.
So y'all have a live show coming up, right?
Yes. June 30th. Bowery Poetry Club.
Yes.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Oh man, it was just due time. Like we was trying to do one, I think maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
And what had happened was, I had gotten suspended from my job and some wild
Things
shit.
happen.
You was fighting?
Nah.
Okay, things happen.
Things happen.
Yeah. Okay.
But
That sounds
yeah,
bad.
so we
That
had
sounds
like
very
It's above you now, so we keep it.
I've grown.
It's above you now, see?
I've grown.
okay.
I've grown.
Till the next suspension.
Please don't.
Well, I got some shit to say. Oh,
No.
nah. Yeah, it's just long overdue. Like, I think that's like the next level for like any podcaster is like to start hosting events and start doing live shows because that's where, because I think for listeners, they're not aware of how the game really is. Like people just assume like, oh, you push out a show every week.
Yeah.
You may have a sponsor here and there, and like you lit, like you out here. It's like, nah, I still got a 9 to 5. I still, have to pay rent and all this other extra shit.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's like that's the next level. It's like, developing your fan base, interacting with people on a personal level, and then seeing where it goes from there. So yeah, June 30th, tickets are available. Yeah, it's just gonna be a good time. We just gonna talk shit.
Tickets are available
June?
where?
I actually might come through. I think I'll be available that day. I think I might come through that day.
Where are your tickets available?
If you go to sipodcast.com/events, you can purchase your tickets.
The link is also in your bio.
Yeah, the
Yes.
link is on both our personal pages bios and the podcast
Okay.
bio.
And it's
so you
your-
click the link.
It's your first live show, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
very first one.
I asked that because we're doing our first event on the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, like, how does that feel going into that? Like, you built up your fan base, you built up your name,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're doing an event for people. Like, are you nervous? Like, you have any jitters about that?
I'm nervous.
Any anxiety?
I'm nervous because I'm not usually like a public speaker like that, which is weird because I have a fucking podcast. But
We get it. We get it.
yeah, so I'm nervous from that aspect. But I think once I actually sit down, get in the flow of things, then it's just gonna be second nature at that point.
It's usually easier in real life than it is in your head when it comes
Yeah.
to speaking to a lot of people
Yeah.
because you psych yourself out.
Because it's like
True.
everybody's sitting there focused on you
Right.
at that time. So it's gonna be weird to have all those eyes just looking at us like.
Are you even going to be looking at anybody? You'd be looking past them? Imagine everybody in their underwear. Isn't that technically people use?
Nah, I'll probably gonna be looking at my co-host.
Just
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
focus. Yeah, I'll be fine.
yeah.
I'm
fine.
definitely drinking before we get on stage.
Please don't eat. Okay.
I control.
No, I would do that. Like,
I
would-
control
would
my
have
mouth
to.
when I
Yeah, I would
drink.
have to.
Oh,
It's the rest of y'all.
I
Y'all
won't-
different.
Like I won't be able to drink.
Yeah,
before,
that's exactly why we don't drink on the show.
Yo, we actually just started incorporating drinking in the show. I think the show's actually gotten better because of it. I ain't gonna lie though, like for some reason we all turn into like, I mean, we haven't impressed y'all yet, I feel, but like we have become like more funny. Our questions become
More
better.
relaxed,
I feel.
definitely.
I like to think
Relax,
I've
for
always
sure.
been wild. I think the last time I was here, I was like a little bit too late. Had a very
You was
bad
nuts.
day.
But
That
that was a
episode
different
And I
dropped
had
reason
like
for
a
drinking.
whole
yeah.
rant, but and I'm not taking that back. I still stand by what I said, and that's just that.
Let them know, yo.
Episode
Let them
drops
know.
tomorrow. That shit's nuts, bro. You wild out.
Oh
And
my
I
I
don't
gotta
care. I
listen
still
to
stand
that.
by it.
He's dramatic.
No,
No, I
dramatic.
did. No, I
I wasn't there to say, but I
did.
know you're
No,
dramatic.
I did.
Too
Like,
much
I
Hennessy
had
in the
I had a
system.
moment, but
Yo, that phone's broken. Your phone's broken. You dropped it 4 times. The shit ain't working. Send the shit back to Apple. It's broken. Bruh. Like, you don't
See?
need your phone, yo.
Case
like,
in point.
Fed up.
I ain't saying
yeah,
that.
like the phone got too many.
Hennessy gets him lit. I'm over here chilling.
That shit scared the shit out of me. I'm like, yo, like,
It just doesn't want me to ask my questions today. That's all. It's
You
just
have a
like,
question?
don't ask these questions. I'm
Yes.
like, why?
so like, how do y'all prepare for episodes and interviews stuff like that? How long is it? What's like the creative process?
Why do you laugh? Oh,
See,
uh-oh.
now-
See?
Sorry, shit now.
you're
Like, what's like the creative process? Like, how long
Karma.
do y'all like? Does it
It's
take
funny because, like I said, like we had episode ideas like prepared for like 5 months. Some of those ideas we haven't even
Touched
yet. Sometimes we'll have like, you know, whether it's conversations at work with coworkers or friends that may inspire something. And then there's been numerous times where I would just be harassing Naima like, yo, what are we going to talk about?
Right now, just come
Monday, what we
going
going to talk about? I don't know. I'm going to get back to you. Tuesday, what we going to talk about? I don't know. I'm going to get back to you.
And then
Wednesday,
literally
I'm like, all
Saturday
right.
night, I'm like,
But-
I think I'm done with the episode. And I'm like, ooh, this gonna be bad. It's gonna be good.
But y'all talk about current events. So like, how do y'all pull topics?
Just random shit.
Yeah,
literally.
it'll be random. Like sometimes I'll have conversations with like my coworkers and my friends, and I'll base the episode around that. And then we have an executive producer, Bianca. Shout out to her. She
Gang.
helps us come up with a lot of the content. So if I have a idea, I want to talk about fuckboys. So I'd be like, yo, B, I want to talk about
That
this.
was a hilarious
Give me
episode.
some,
I could
give me some
imagine.
key points to talk about, and she'll just go into our notes
Yeah,
app,
she
and
be
she'll
going
just drop
ham.
a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick out from there like what I want to go with.
Yeah.
What is a
That's what we
fuckboy?
do.
What exactly? Like dictionary.com. what
Leave
is
it to a
fuckboy?
female to define.
Yeah, I'm asking.
What is a fuckboy?
Yeah.
I don't.
What's your definition?
Is it a
of
cheater?
fuckboy?
Is it a scumbag?
You see all the
like,
Instagram
a liar?
memes, but what is
yeah,
the
I want to say a
definition?
narcissistic man. He's a little bit of a liar, manipulative, borderline sociopath.
I've been called a fuckboy. I feel a little offended.
You've been called a fuckboy? I'm not surprised.
Wow.
It's like,
shade.
nah,
Going in.
I'm
for the
joking. I'm
Shade.
joking. The running joke on the podcast.
How much time we have left?
I'm joking. I'm trying to
Listen
lighten
here,
the mood
yeah,
somehow.
you're gonna have to. I
It's
don't know
mad
what to
tense
right
in
now.
here. I feel like everybody's like kind of like I don't
Sip my
know.
drink.
I'm
It's
joking.
not tense in here.
I feel
don't
like
think
it's
so.
tense.
Yeah.
It's not tense.
I'm
I feel
not
tense.
Did you
You're
take a
hot,
shot?
yeah.
Yeah, you
It
didn't.
is.
Did you
Give
drink
me a little
enough?
more
Here.
Hennessy.
I didn't drink enough.
Don't let him Drake no more.
But
Okay.
I don't know. I
That's
feel
what
like
he
I don't
said.
know. Maybe it's
He
just
had
my
me.
mind
Let me
overthinking
hear
as
it.
I think
usual.
so.
As
Just a
usual.
little bit.
Jeffrey over here talking
It's
shit.
okay,
so
though.
you gotta look at me.
Glasses
No,
on.
those are
But,
glasses on.
but
You
like
can look
that's
in
just
my
like my
eyeballs
sister.
now,
Like this is
goddammit.
what you should be used to this. Like or should be
No,
getting
but no, when
used
they
to it.
told me that, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
No,
but then you said
that's-
narcissist. I'm like, ooh.
I think that was somebody just trying to be hurtful. That wasn't like based in
You know,
truth,
this side, there's many sides to me, so yeah.
But how
I can
come?
see
Yeah,
that,
but-
How come you guys don't incorporate current events? Like there's so much going on
We
between
did
like
at-
politics.
We
and-
did at one point.
Shit.
but
Shout out to Mandy from Horrible Decisions. She's the one who put me onto game about that. But she was basically saying like, you got Joe Budden podcast, you got like the Reed or whoever. Like most people are gonna go to the popular shows and they cover current
Yes.
events. So it's like
You have to set
more than
yourself
likely
apart.
they
Yes.
probably don't want to hear the same topic again from a lesser known show. So it's like, all right, we should just scrap it.
But the topic is the same, but the opinion is different. Like
That's
your
true.
opinion may shift someone's
That's
consciousness.
definitely true.
Yeah, but then it's like
And I feel like
I heard it from the Reed, I heard it from Joe Budden, I heard it from whoever. It's like, do I really want to hear the same topic again, even if it may be a different opinion?
Yeah.
So
I think
Still
so because
redundant,
they don't.
right?
Because like
My answer to that is always you do maybe always like a 15-second rundown, like maybe like a SNL trip. You know how SNL does it, or what's that thing, the sports show on ESPN when they do like the bam bam
First
bam
take?
bam point. Yeah, that one, whatever it is.
I don't know.
Like a 15-second rundown of your unpopular opinion about it or your popular opinion about it. But that's up to you. I feel like current events doesn't have to be on every episode.
I feel like we shifted away from current events too.
We did. We have to.
Yeah.
We definitely
like,
did.
and then
Also,
also it's
I don't
like
care about.
you got people that don't. They may skip a week or two, so it's like if they want to go back, it's like, oh, this is some shit that I probably heard from like 3 other shows. Like, well, I'm gonna
Right.
go back to listen to it.
Everybody follows the shade room. The info- the
Yeah,
info's
so it's
there.
like it
Follow
kind
the
of
right
it kind of
one.
gets repetitive,
I respect it.
as opposed to like you literally like have a standalone episode. So it's like this is not something I'm probably gonna hear from somebody else unless they just happen to have the same topic.
I respect it. I don't know. I just feel like everyone's opinion is different and it matters. Like especially on certain topics, like like. I feel like we really went in depth with like with Nipsey and all that, and like
I enjoyed
Well,
talking
that's
kind of like
current
politics
events.
and shit like that. I don't know, like
Nipsey's
I enjoy
different.
it.
Yeah.
yeah, Nipsey's different, but like I don't
Yeah.
know.
I have a question since we're talking about current events. I was just reading something today on Instagram that TMZ released that Precious T.I.'s sister was laced up with cocaine as she had her car accident. And, my cousin hit me up and I was just like, I feel like some information should always be left private. I don't care how public it is. We should always have respect to the family.
Yeah, how
Like, which-
public the person is.
yeah,
Yeah, it
like
shouldn't
what is your
matter.
opinion on that? Like even your own family members, like would you feel like certain information should just be kept to?
I mean, as a human, it should be, but we're talking about TMZ. We know what they're in business for.
What their
It's to make
purpose
money,
is.
and they don't make money by being nice. They make money by the headlines and for clickbait. So,
How do they get those like that information so fast?
I'm pretty
because
sure
people
Yeah,
sell it,
sources.
people
People
sell
sell that
information.
Get
We
somebody on the
live
inside.
a technological age where data literally costs something.
PSA out there, if I see anything, you're famous, pay me to shut the fuck up.
Word. That might
Isn't
be a
that
bigger
what
part,
Vince
yeah.
Staples had did
I
one
will shut
time?
all the way
He had
up.
like a GoFundMe because people was complaining about him, so he started a GoFundMe like, pay me $2 million. Shut the fuck up.
That sounds like some Vince
I'll
Staples
shut
shit.
I'll shut the fuck
I'll
up
shut
if
up.
you pay me $2 million.
That's funny.
I want to have a Vince Staples talk one day. I think he's like a great human being, but his music is trash.
Wait, what?
Who?
Vince Staples. I think he's like a dope human being, but his music is trash.
I just find him very interesting.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
He's
He's just
super-
hilarious.
Yeah, he's different, and he ain't done a single drug according to him. Like, honestly,
So
I don't
we
know
say.
I feel like they all say that.
that they haven't done drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do y'all do drugs? That's a super question. But like,
Naima didn't answer.
yeah, I know.
Shit.
She's thinking about what
She
drugs
just
she just did.
smiled.
Like,
She like whatever.
That was funny.
so, do y'all ever have like any clashes on like what to talk about each episode, like any creative differences, and how do y'all work past it if you do?
I don't know if we ever had one.
Not when it comes to the show.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
That's interesting.
Watch
Yeah.
them have one like next week or some shit. Like
I'm trying to stir the pot. Like,
I see you do.
Yeah, we usually, because
see
we're both the same sign. We're both Aquarians. Our birthdays are 2 days apart.
what happened?
What
You said
happened?
Aquarius.
I don't know anything about Aquarius. What's up with them?
Very flighty, airy,
What does that mean?
fake. Like y'all
Amy
have
shaking her
a
head,
tendency
yes.
of narcissism in a sense. Like y'all have this
Go on,
God
go on.
complex.
A God complex?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
I
have a
can't
God.
relate to that. Not that part.
Have a God complex sometimes. What do you January, February?
February.
February.
Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Dope.
that's so cute. That's messed up, girl.
I'm very airy though. Like we'll be recording before and Steve used to be like, "You're not paying attention." I'm like, "I'm here," but I'm like, "Oh, look at the color." Like that's just.
Pissing
Do you
me off.
expect a
Just
Valentine's Day gift and a birthday gift?
I do not. I don't like to put that kind of pressure on people.
I respect you, yo,
For
because
real,
that's too much
like, I
pressure.
would just be
Like
like,
a
why
lot.
not though? Like, it's my birthday. It's 2 different occasions.
That's a lot. I don't know anything about like any other sign but mine. I'm a Libra, so like I don't like when people
I've
say,
never
"Oh,
been
I'm
big on
this."
zodiacs.
Yeah, like-
I'm around so many. My mom, my cousins, a lot of guys I've dated have been
More
Libras.
air,
Libras?
like your air too. So it's just like air and air and air.
I get along with Aquarius.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Too much Hennessy,
It's not me. It's the Henny.
but you off
It's
right
the
now.
Henny. But nah,
Cuddle.
because I'm a fire sign. I'm a Leo. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So you guys feed my fire.
Do they feed your fire or do they extinguish it?
So far
know
they've
me
been
over
feeding
here.
me.
Okay, Miss Cleo.
What's that about?
And what's your
Don't
sign?
ever see like don't just think about calling me Miss Cleo. That's crazy.
First of all,
I had a
where's
whole
this-
vision
Stop
today
it.
before
Wait,
I
did
came
she
here.
pass?
today.
I'm
Did
just.
she
This
pass?
man is on a roof.
she did. I think she
Yeah.
did.
She passed?
I think she
Yeah.
did.
Rest
What?
Rest in
Miss
peace.
Cleo.
I didn't know that.
She didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
apparently.
Shit.
Wow. Yo, how much
What is
time?
happening?
How much time do we have left?
That
I
was
don't
funny.
know, but we
That
still
was funny.
here. We're still
was
here.
Wait, what's your
Still
sign before?
here.
we
Boom,
finish?
boom.
I'm a Virgo.
Thank you.
Oh, my best friends are Virgos.
See, look at that.
We mesh well.
Oh, good.
The
Yeah.
best thing out here.
Right.
See,
That's such a Virgo thing to say,
Aquarians have a
damn it.
God complex. And we're narcissistic. But I do get that by a lot of men. They're narcissistic.
Yeah,
They're,
maybe it's the man.
detached.
Yeah, detached.
Yeah.
Very detached.
Yeah.
We have our
I pray that a
reasons.
lot.
Okay, it's funny because they're very detached, but yet they believe in love and want they have this whole fairy tale of understanding what they want their love life to be. It's just
Why are
like,
you elbowing me?
how do you feel that way, but yet you
You're
don't
still
tell nobody
elbowing
you
me.
like them? It's like the weirdest shit ever with
Yeah.
them. They're weird.
I usually get along with everybody until I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even then, I'm
Yeah.
still like, I'll still hang out with people, but I just know like not to get too close a little bit. So I pretty much get along with everybody.
Every Aquarius I've met likes to drink.
Yeah.
Every Aquarius that I've met.
But they're
I
not
was
drinking,
walking
so I
past
think
here and I was
that's a
like,
lie.
happy hour, don't get distracted. Keep walking. I was like, it's the liquor store, don't get distracted, keep walking.
All my Aquarius
What's
friends,
your
they
What's your
like to
go-to
drink.
drink?
I like tequila.
Oh, that's right. You did
Tequila.
say. You were talking before the show. Tequila. Wow, that's impressive.
I've heard many things about tequila. I don't really
Tequila doesn't
indulge
work
that
for me.
often.
I
I
just
can
like
drink
Doesn't
tequila
mix
and
with
seltzer
me.
water or tequila and lime and just sip on that the whole night.
Oh, you like your tequila straight?
Yeah.
Okay. Ew.
I'm more of a wine guy myself. Just give me
Red or
wine.
white?
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter.
Ooh.
He likes
This is
Hennessy. You like Hennessy?
Ooh.
Oh, the Taylor Port is different.
Hennessy?
Teleport's another
Oh.
level.
Oh.
Taylor
What you know
Port.
about that?
With
Teleport?
Teleport is like, oh my god. No.
Yeah.
So we had like a trap brunch for my birthday at my friend's house,
Oh.
and no one never had Taylor Port, and I brought it, and I watched.
Wait, they never
everybody
had it?
I watched him take a sip, and it was like, my mouth is burning.
I
I
could not
That's
get
too
with
funny. I
teleport.
haven't
tried that.
No.
Haven't
Mm,
tried
I
It
can't
has to
get
be
with it
really
at all.
cold.
Yes, it
And
has
I
to be
even-
cold.
And I even dilute it sometimes because it's just like a lot.
It's pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it though.
try it.
I
I've
can
never
call me
had it.
bougie. I'll drink everything.
had
but
it.
Because all you
Yeah.
drink is Hennessy.
What?
That's
Yo, don't-
true.
Hennessy.
Yo, what are you
That's
saying
true.
right
Every
now?
time I've
That's
seen you,
true.
had a drink, you've only had
We've-
Hennessy.
But I
Think about
like
it.
it though.
There's
like-
nothing for you to say.
Okay,
Scott.
then. See?
You love Hennessy.
Okay, wait.
You
What's
know,
happening
I've
right
only
now?
ever drink Hennessy here. I don't even like Hennessy. I've called this like the ignorant nigga drink.
I can't have it no more. Last time I went home, went straight to sleep.
Are we not ignorant niggas
So
though?
about what?
No, we are though.
I
But
don't even
you know,
remember.
Hennessy's the only alcohol that either makes you violent
Or horny?
or like I don't know. But it's just like Hennessy.
Yo, what type of
Honey?
Henny? What you on right
Well, they
now?
always say it like, yeah, you could go honey, like you get the honey dick, whatever the case is. But
Facts.
I know Hennessy for like, I just be like a little extra violent
said
sometimes.
facts.
Like I'm a little aggressive on
No.
Hennessy. But it's alright. I'm calm.
Sips.
So I'll make sure to bring some. What is it? Taylor Port? What is it?
Yeah, we have to
Is it a
switch up.
wine?
Please
Right.
do not
It's a
bring
wine.
no
It's a red
teleport.
wine.
So
Do
y'all
not
bring the shit. I brought.
teleport.
I've contributed. Like
I've said
with
before
that.
I would drink
drunk
wine.
wine. What
Yeah,
are you
she
talking
has.
about?
You're right. You're right.
Taylor Port
She
is
brought,
really cheap.
um,
It'd be like anywhere between $8
rosé
and $20.
before.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you get drunk so fast.
I might bring it one of these days.
Have y'all ever recorded an episode and just been like, maybe like you felt like the guest was good, the content was good, but like you personally didn't do well and you kind of were like weirded out about that?
Yeah.
And how did y'all
Which
get
episode
past
was
that?
that?
Probably every episode where I was not mentally present.
Yo, when we first started, Naima used to come to the show hungover like every week.
Dykeman, man.
Oh.
Shout out
Oh,
to
so where are
Dykeman.
y'all from?
Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah, from
Harlem.
Brooklyn. Oh, you from Harlem?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you're from Brooklyn. You
I'm
live in
from
Harlem.
Brooklyn. I live in Harlem, but I've been in Harlem since I was 15 years old.
So you from Harlem?
Yeah, like I don't know how to get around.
So it's a
Brooklyn.
2-1-2 thing.
I hate them damn sons.
Nobody
Fucking
likes that
gentrification.
saying.
Hate them damn sons.
Oh, I don't see those. In Brooklyn.
Everybody from Harlem hates that.
Yes.
Oh my God, like what
They
is
have a
this?
very-
Like where's this pub?
Crazy
Where's
reaction
this
to it,
fucking
yeah.
pub? It's a 2-1-2
It's a
thing.
2-1-2 thing.
Like,
Pub
no.
just sound like some white shit too.
No, it's
Like
not.
the word pub.
No, the fuck it's not.
So you never been to Mama's Fried Chicken?
No.
Ooh, mama, yo, when I was growing up, because I grew up in the South Bronx, and my aunt used to live in Harlem and Lincoln projects or Dunham. Like, she was either in Lincoln for a little while, then she was in Dunham. But all I know is I remember walking across that bridge, going to Mama's Fried Chicken, and getting a chicken box and my sweet potato pie and being the happiest kid in the world. Like, and that is still like my comfort food. I went and got a sweet potato pie last night. I mean, I live in Queens. It's not the same, but it's all the same.
Got you.
Oh,
You talk about food the most, but you never bring any for anybody on the podcast.
That's not true.
That's not
One
true.
time she brought some banana pudding. She
No,
did
but
eat
I mean,
some of
like-
it.
From Magnolia? Was it from there?
So actually, I did go into Magnolia's
Mhm.
when I got off the train. I was like, I should get us some banana pudding.
You didn't.
And I looked at it
She
and I was
did
just
get
like, no, I didn't get it today. I
Oh,
was just-
today, yeah.
By the
I
way,
would-
on the way here, Lenny almost punched me in my face because like
What
I
did
saw
you do?
her. I saw her when I was walking, and like I just happened to look at the group chat, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm walking too." I looked up to my left. She was right there. I tapped her. She almost punched me dead in my face.
Yes, I was
you
already
doing
a
coming up
little
on a
bit
chick in the street like
self-conscious
that?
because of my dress has this long slit. So I have my scarf around the slit as I'm walking in the streets. And then and I'm just like, oh, shit.
Like,
What was the word you were
it's
gonna
just a
use?
reflex. It's just a
This-
normal
this nigga-
reflex, I would think.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I
Don't take it
almost really got
personal, like-
knocked out.
Yeah.
Fucking 33rd Street, whatever. the fuck it
Announce
was.
yourself, man.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at
She had
that.
headphones on.
I'm not mad at that though.
Yeah, because I
'cause
was at the point I was jamming to Megan Stallion, so I was like in a whole nother world, like big old freaking shit. So I thought my ass was like the biggest thing in the world. Just now, walking down.
What would y'all say is the hardest part about podcasting?
Would say consistency. Making sure everybody show up.
Yeah, making sure everybody show up on time. And then because we're 100 plus in, so at times you feel like you've discussed everything when you definitely have not. That's probably the two hardest things is like, because sometimes you may have like a good idea, but it's like, can I stretch this for an hour?
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I really pride myself with like Naima, Vixen, our videographer, Bianca, our executive producer, because it's in those cases where it's like we may have a good idea, but I'm just like, because we all have our own jobs, so sometimes I'm just mentally drained. Like I got 3 questions to ask and that's it. So it takes all of us to like, you know,
Pull together.
put episodes together.
I feel like showing up is the hardest part for me. Like after like you said, like a long 8-hour day, it's just like, do I want to come? But it's like, yeah, I want to and I have to, right? So that's
We're here
like
for you if you need like motivation.
a motivation.
Get your ass on the train.
Yeah, word.
I got on
That's
the train.
that's
yeah,
what you're saying.
every time.
That's the response you get.
100 plus episodes. That's dedication. I mean, you said you weren't consistent. You don't do it every week, right?
No, we do it every week. There's just been
You had
instances, like I wasn't working for a short period of time, so that was one gap. Naima's been gone a couple times. And even after when she was gone, like somebody had pissed me off. Like a guest was supposed to come through, was like hitting them up, like, yeah, I'm coming through. And then like 2 days before we were supposed to record, like not responding to messages or
No
anything like that.
communication.
Bruh.
That
And
is
then
the
just
The
worst.
fucking
Yeah.
worst.
It's
and-
so disrespectful.
Yeah. Because it's like, if you would have told me, like, look, I'm not feeling it no more, then cool. I could probably
Anything's
figure
better than
out, like,
nothing.
finding somebody last minute.
You know what's even
Yeah.
more disrespectful? Not promoting the fucking podcast we did. The whole hour, 2-hour podcast that we did, and you're
You'll
not
never let
promoting
that
it.
go.
Yeah.
He
Never.
goes so hard sometimes.
No, but it's
I know.
what do y'all say?
But no,
agree, I
I
agree.
get it, but it's just funny. I definitely agree.
No, but like,
I hear you, fam. Shit's funny.
no, I'm saying like we paying for this shit. Like we don't
You're
own
right.
this shit.
You're right.
Mhm.
You know what
I
mean?
agree.
I'm just saying. Have y'all had that
Motherfuckers.
experience? Like a guest, like you have a guest do a whole
I
hour.
really
interview?
don't, like, hold people to a certain, standard when it comes to, like, promo and shows. Like,
Why?
content is content. Like, at the end of the day, people going to tune in or not.
Can I ask
Like,
you a question? Have you ever had a guest that wanted you to pay for their Uber to come to your show?
Fuck out of here. First of all, I'm the
The
first one to
only-
be like, no,
I just
we're
had
not
to
paying
ask.
for anything.
The only time I've ever done that was for my music podcast, but that's because it was DJ Clark Kent. So,
Oh, I know him.
yeah, so there was no...
different.
Yeah, that's different.
Sorry.
But civilian, nah.
Why you ask that question, bro?
Why? Because it was a question I needed to ask. It was just curiosity.
He asked that because that happened to us, and I had to
Uh-huh.
pay for our last guest Uber.
Nobody had to know that. You
I
we
didn't
could've-
put that
we
out
could've just
there.
kept that
But we're not
It was
gonna
just
say
a
who it
question.
is, but like
Yeah.
it happened.
I just asked the question.
Yeah.
Whatever, transparency,
I
right?
just
We can
asked the
we can just
question.
leave
Yeah.
that part out.
Yeah, edit. We'll
Yeah.
figure out how
Edit,
to edit.
edit.
Yeah, just
Cut that
just
shit
take
out.
Yeah, just take that out.
Do y'all?
This is why I
y'all
should
edit
cut your
every week
ass
or
off
no?
before.
No.
We never edited once, so we might have to now.
I've edited only one time, and
We
that's
had to do
we,
the bleeps.
Why?
the guest we had used to be part of a religious cult, so she was like mentioning like the school itself and her husband, so I had to go back and edit that out.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yeah,
A
that was the
religious
only
cult?
episode. Yeah,
That's
she
crazy.
had just realized that the
was a
school,
cult.
yeah, like the church or school that she was going to was actually a religious cult.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
That's
devastating.
that sounds
What
like a
kind
good
of
ass
cult,
episode.
like
What'd
what
you
kind of religion? Like I'm so interested. Not because but just like what
It
the
was
hell?
like I don't even.
So many
Did she even
reasons.
say-
Know if
yeah,
they
it
would be
was-
considered Catholic or whatever. Like I'm not even.
Yeah, it was just like you come here I think once a week.
That's I think as they got older, but everyone went to this. All the kids went to school within that church, so all the kids grew up together. And then as they went off to like high school, they still had to come back in once a week. Then like certain days they had to be there. They weren't. They could only marry within the church. And she said that was weird because like if I grew up with this person who's my brother, now you telling me I
Yeah.
can marry him.
What?
Yeah, so it was a really good episode. Yeah.
And so like I feel like you guys are super super close, right? So if you could tell me one thing about her that maybe she needs to improve on, and vice versa, like to make your show progress even further, right? Do you think there's anything at all, not to like cause any
that
trauma?
we haven't spoke about.
Yeah, like
For the show to progress,
any because like self.
it'll probably be the same thing that I probably want to hold to myself is like social media activity. That would probably be like the only thing, because if you look at all the more popular shows, like those are like legit personalities if they're not a celebrity. So they're always in front of their camera, always giving some sort of content. So it's like, oh, I find this person interesting. Oh, they got a podcast? Let me tune in. So I know myself, I'm an introvert, so I don't really care for like the camera. Like when did we start filming? Like for not that long. I don't even think we've been filming for like a year yet. So we just now started, filming on a consistent basis because I just never cared to be in front of the camera. So that would probably be like the only thing. But even I'm the type of person, if I'm not doing it myself, I'm not gonna, beat you over the head over it. Like she don't post, she don't to post. Like it is what it is.
Not gonna press.
Yeah.
No, same.
Safe answer, same. So this show was. I don't know. Have you listened to the show prior to coming on? Do you guys have time? I know you guys. I'm sure you guys are busy.
I haven't listened in like maybe a couple weeks.
Gotcha. So just to reiterate and repeat myself, this show was created. Basically, I suffered from depression like very heavily, and my only escape from that depression was podcast. And when I got to a place of like peace of mind again, I wanted to like take that advantage of that time and be that same escape for other people and create my own podcast. So I was curious, do you guys have any history with depression at all? And what do you do to get past that? Is it podcasting or is it working out or whatever?
I think everybody goes through depression at some point.
Or anxiety,
I think I think we've had an episode on mental health. We recently had an episode about PTSD where we kind of discussed like PTSD might actually be genetic, and being people of color, all the shit that we deal with, even if it's not directly to you, the shit that we see on TV, on social media, it can have an impact on you.
I agree.
But I don't think I've used podcasting for depression. I think for podcasting for me is more so like just an escape, because it's like I'm at my office 9 hours every day. I got bills I got to worry about. I got family. I got other shit. I get to see my friends once a week, and we get to just talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
Right.
Don't have to care about anything. Just turn the mics on and
Have
whatever.
fun.
Yeah, it's just basically have fun. So the times where we was talking about it before, like you skip a week, it's like there's times where it's like we skipped a couple weeks and it's like, damn, I'm starting to get the itch to go back in the studio again. Like even we have everybody's phone number, like we could speak over the phone, but it's like there's something about just being in that room, that energy, you can't replicate it. So
Definitely understand that.
For myself, I deal with anxiety. In the past, I have dealt with like eating disorders. What else? I was actually in school to be a doctor. I was pre-med, and then I went through like a really hard time, and then that's when I started going back into like art and makeup artistry. So I would say like makeup and skincare. I have my own brand with my sister, my own business. So that's how I usually escape, being creative and being around, you know, other women and exchanging that like positively and feeling beautiful and making someone else feel beautiful. That's my escape. Anxiety is not as bad as it used to be, but I do have my moments. Usually when sometimes men are a trigger, especially in New York City. When you walk down the street and people just, hey, like that really like irritates me and pisses me off to the point I get really nervous and frustrated. I don't like being on the trains too much when it's crowded and it's a whole bunch of men. I get off the train and I wait.
Do you get claustrophobic at all, or is it just
no? It's
the
just
energy
like personal space. Like
okay.
I just need you to back up a little bit. And then I'm short, and guys are usually taller, so they feel like they hover over you.
Yeah.
So that
especially on the train, I hate that.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. So I've gotten off the train a few times and waited for the next one or just caught a cab places. We talk about therapy. I do go to therapy. Not as much as I used to before, but like once a week. I have a privilege where I could just call into my therapist if I need to. Speak over the phone. So I'm an advocate for therapy, especially in Black community. A lot of us need therapy, even if it's not like we're going through something. Just to have somebody else outside of your circle of friends and family to talk to with an unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to start therapy. I just found a therapist I'm going to start going to. Solo, my engineer, he actually goes to that therapist, and I'm Haitian, so she's Haitian as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like it helps because she understands like the cultural background, because you know there's a lot of feelings from my dismembered relationship with my parents, being an only child and not getting enough love and affection.
Yeah, there's
Talk it out.
There's something about our community that's just weird to me. It's just like we're just so anti the idea of therapy. It's like I'm trying to better myself.
We've been forced to be so strong for such a long period of time. Anytime we show any sign of weakness, usually, older person would tell you like, "Yo, you gotta man up."
It's so true. Even at this point, my father.
This is why I don't think I mentioned it before, but like originally the start of the podcast was based on like a book that I was supposed to write that I never finished, and it's never gonna get finished. But it was
Not necessarily,
you have to. It takes years and dedication.
I'm writing a book now, so I definitely understand what you're saying.
Like I don't have the time.
It's never gonna get finished. I feel like maybe. I hate when I'm working on two different. Your book is your healing process. If you don't write your book, you're never gonna get to the point where you need to be. So, do not write the book.
And I write a chapter a night, like something as simple as that. Like
I haven't written in that in probably like a good 2 years.
And you need to go, like when you leave here today, I hope you like find it, read it, and then you're inspired to put something on that page today.
I'm gonna do that just because you said so.
You should. Trust me. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, like in our community, in terms of looking at like as you have to be strong and like you have to like be like a manly man or like a tough whatever, like it's nuts. Like why do I have to be that? Why can't I be vulnerable sometimes? Why can't I just express to you like what I'm feeling?
And it's crazy because even right now, like with my dad, he has that mentality, and he's been like both my parents have been institutionalized before. They both have suffered from depression. My dad's tried to commit suicide multiple times, right? And it'd be like, we just had a conversation last week for his birthday or whatever, and he was just telling me like certain things he doesn't like to talk about because he gets too emotional about it. I'm just like, yo, after everything you've been through, you're still practicing these unhealthy strategies. These coping methods are not healthy, you know, because he talks about how he doesn't like to speak on certain things because it makes him get emotional, but it's just like, how are you ever going to heal from these things that are bothering you?
Learn behavior.
My relationship with therapy was a bit warped, and it still kind of is. I mean, even though I kind of went through it and I did enjoy the process, it's like I'm paying someone to care, right? That's what it felt like. I'm literally paying someone to care and listen to me.
You're paying somebody to be objective.
Yo,
that's true.
And honestly,
that's
what it is sometimes. You're paying someone to be objective. You're paying someone to listen to you and not judge you.
Someone who doesn't know you
But
and
I feel
isn't
like
biased
the people
against,
directly
you
in
know.
my circle should be doing that already.
Yeah, but some people are biased.
They are gonna be
like
biased.
you know,
Yeah.
they
People that
have
care about
feelings
you will be
invested
biased.
in you, so they may think that they're giving you good advice, but really it's biased because it's really their own perception, you know, that they're reflecting onto you.
I
So that's
agree.
why somebody needs to be objective that doesn't necessarily know things about you can express to them, and they can kind of sift through things and give you a different perspective of it. I think.
But isn't that what therapy is, though? It's
Yeah.
just textbook answers. Like, they really do not know you in a sense. So whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, they're going to give you a textbook answer.
I think that
Whether
depends
it's
on the therapist.
unbiased or
Yes.
not.
I agree.
I
If
think
you
that
find a
depends on
good
the
one,
therapist.
I think they can look past it and kind of read between your lines.
So then it goes back to judging you. In a sense.
I don't think so.
That was my first experience. That's what I felt
Yeah,
like
and then
the
it
guy
goes
was
back to
just,
judging you.
he didn't understand me. Like, I mean, we
Yeah.
weren't the same, like, color. We weren't the same race. Like,
That's-
so.
So then you felt
That's
judged and you
probably-
moved
Yeah,
on.
like-
That
that's a major
happens,
key.
yeah. But
Yeah,
every
that
time
is
you
a
find a
major
good
key.
one.
You don't
know?
understand my struggle whatsoever.
Yeah.
like,
I've
at
had
all,
white
like.
therapists,
That's a major
black
key, though.
therapists, and I would never say it was good or it was bad. It was just like
Different.
I can play games with everybody. But then when I was going to therapy, it was one of those things where it was just like, never mind. But yeah, it's yo.
This has become my new therapy. Like, y'all know I'm venting all the time after the podcast, during the podcast. So.
I don't mind it
I
at
got a
all.
lot of
I
shit
think
going
it's
on.
really healthy, man.
Yeah.
Like I like the relationship that we have on this podcast to be able to talk about those things.
Yeah. The goal being not to keep things bottled up and express yourself. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of the goals of the podcast. This podcast is just like just be free, like
Be transparent.
let your
Yeah,
let your
be
shit out
transparent.
and just like do what the fuck you want and say what you want to say
with integrity.
With integrity. I'm big on
He's
integrity.
big on integrity.
And that leads into a perfect question. So you guys are still on your way up, like grinding and shit. Let's say you got offered a certain amount of money.
Oh, we
or an
selling out.
opportunity.
Oh,
No.
I'm sorry.
He
Finish
didn't
the
even wait.
question.
He
Finish
didn't
the
even wait for
question.
the situation.
Finish
He
the question.
cashing out,
All right,
baby.
so if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and all that. That's what?
He's cashing out.
My nigga.
And respect his honesty. He's
Cashing
cashing out.
out.
I respect,
No,
I
you guys-
respect the honesty.
You guys the question. You guys the question. I was just joking.
So
was
let's
funny.
say you were offered a certain amount of money or maybe a certain opportunity for your podcast by a certain company or maybe a certain brand that has done some things that don't really align with your morals. Would you guys accept that
That's
opportunity?
different.
That's different.
Yeah, that's different.
Even if it's like the perfect opportunity, you may never get this shit ever again, or at least not for a long time. Would you accept that opportunity? It's life changing.
The only way I could see myself accepting that sort of opportunity if it's not something that binds me with them for long term.
No contracts, just like a one-off.
Like, well, okay, you are signed to, let's say, Spotify for a year, and let's say Spotify out here wilding. It's like, I'm gonna just have to hold
that
it.
sentence sounds crazy.
I'm gonna just have to hold it down for the year, and then once January hit, like, yo, they was wilding over there, but I got my check. I'm out. Cause it's like, okay, I can't be responsible for what somebody else is capable of.
Very true.
But you're
I could-
attaching your name to that.
Not necessarily. They are just the machine behind it. Like they're making sure we're in the studio every week, but I'm still in control of what I say
That's
on
right.
my mic.
That's right.
So I could be completely opposed to what they say. Every week. It was like, yo, they've been bugging for like mad weeks, but they still paying us though.
Honestly,
I don't fucks with it. I wish they would stop, but
sometimes I feel like I'm never gonna make it because I feel like I'm too emotional and I'm too like about my integrity. Because I will never ever work with anyone who has done some shit that doesn't lie with my morals,
Okay,
no matter
Ned.
what. Dead ass. Because like
With his head.
it's just like if I'm being myself like 100% behind this microphone, like why would I ever like compromise who I am and what I believe in for an
Well, that's
opportunity?
have to be compromising of who you are, what you believe in. It's an interview. Maybe you should get the other side of the story.
I would never interview like a Donald Trump. I would never interview like
You would never interview Donald Trump.
But like, you don't think that
No.
limits you from being able to like actually
If Donald Trump
understand?
wanted to come here,
And do the
It's
that'd be
an
wild. That'd be a wild.
You
He
would
would-
That'll
say
broaden
no.
your
You
horizons.
could,
You would say
ask
no.
him whatever you
Exactly.
want. You could say whatever you want to him.
But we got nothing to talk
You could wear
about
the
because
hat.
like
That's not true.
No,
You
we
have
have
nothing
a
to
lot
say.
to
You have
talk
nothing to
about.
comment.
talk about, but like
Talk
Got a
about.
lot to talk about.
but like I feel like I would be
First
going and
question
say
is, do you really run the freaking state? Like the
no,
country?
he don't. But like
So if that's the case, why do we hate him so much?
the first question is that a hairpiece? And how much did you pay?
no, it's just like
He don't want to come on our show.
if I was meeting with someone like that, someone like who's full of hate, like I feel like my goal would be try to like shift like their mentality a bit, but like that's impossible, right? So it's just like you'll never understand where I'm coming from. You'll never understand my plight. So
Kind
it's
of
like,
like
what's the point?
it's a waste of time. Because
Yeah, it
no
feels
matter
like
what
a-
I say,
Yeah.
no matter what we discuss, the end result is you are who you are, and I am who I am. And
You're
we're-
gonna be
Maybe
who
it's not
you
that
are,
would
and
never- I don't think like okay, so we can. It's like the devil and God. They don't freaking come to agreement at the end of their session every time they get together. It's a game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that you cannot sit in a room, have a conversation, and walk away from the table with no hate in your heart and no malice towards the person just because you do not understand their plight?
no, I don't respect their plight. I don't respect them. Like I won't ever speak to someone I don't respect and someone that doesn't like, inspire me and make me feel good. And like,
But what if you work for a company like CBS and like a big corporation and you have to do these interviews? Let's say you're fucking
to?
Diane Sawyer and the shit. You have to do these interviews.
Your paycheck depends on it.
Then what?
that's nuts. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like,
See, so
no,
it's
but
the
like,
same
I
thing.
feel honest. But like, if my life,
If
my
you
life,
won't
does my
do
life
it,
depend on
I'll
it?
do it.
Yeah, he'll
But
do
you
it.
don't see any benefit from talking to somebody like that for your own
With the
understanding.
exception
Like,
of the
But
Gail interview
I
and the
built
R.
this
Kelly
off
interview,
of like
that was
I
just
built
pure
this show
bullshit.
off of such a genuine place. I feel like that's not what.
But you could
division-
still maintain that level of integrity
thank you.
Yeah.
in the conversation,
Yeah.
because it's not even necessarily
Yeah.
about changing their viewpoint. Sometimes it could just be asking questions that even instill more about who they are, and that could be like, because
Revealing
there's
more
people,
truths.
there could be
Yeah.
people that's like in the gray area about this person. It's like, oh, after this interview, I know what
learned,
they
yeah,
really,
now
I know who
where
they
I
really
stand.
are.
Right.
Cha-ching.
and that's one of the biggest things about having a platform is to enlighten others, man. It's a responsibility.
Yeah, I just like.
Because it's not necessarily about the person that's sitting across from you. Sometimes it's about the person that's listening at home.
And the message.
Maybe
Oh,
that
but
drop
doesn't
is
that
what-
seem
I
like a
would
cat?
drop this mic right now.
That's
But
real
doesn't
shit,
that
though.
seem like some shady shit though? It's like you're talking to someone that you literally don't like and you don't believe what they believe in, just to appeal to your listeners.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
But
that's the-
isn't
There's still things you can learn from them.
That's what I'm saying.
I like
I'm looking
every
at
guest
that-
we talk to.
But I'm looking at the aspect.
I
First.
talk to people at work I don't like.
That's what I'm saying. You
that's
shouldn't
what
only
I'm
talk
saying.
to people
talk to
you
anybody
like.
at my job.
I don't think
I
you
don't
should
talk to
only
them
talk to
niggas.
people.
All right, well, that's innocent.
I don't think you should only talk to people you like. Because
I'm antisocial as
it,
fuck.
it limits your ability to
Angry black man
understand.
at the
True.
job.
So are you telling me that I would be possibly holding us back from another level?
You're holding yourself back from promotion
right.
at work.
Promotion?
Okay. Start smiling, my nigga.
That's been offered. Chill. Don't do that. That's been offered.
See?
I feel like if you were to stop yourself from talking to people you don't like, you'd stop yourself from understanding these
Then you
people.
Yeah.
you kind of
agree.
disrespecting the title itself.
Mm.
Because it's like, what is it that you
You're
really
like
in
Title
it for?
podcaster
We're like,
meaning?
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
in a
It's-
sense journalists in a sense. Like we're getting to those questions that people think about but don't have the courage
Yeah,
to
that's
ask
like,
in a sense.
Vixen's homeboy that came on the show one time.
that was an interview I didn't expect going away.
He was a African man. He was a homosexual African that had to leave the country because of his sexual orientation. And the deepest shit that he said a bunch of jewelry, but the shit that hit me, he was like, 20, 30, 40 years from now, somebody's going to be listening to your show. And that was the first time I ever
actually
thought
thought
about
about
that.
that. Yeah.
I was like, you got a fucking point. Like, I
After we
mean,
die, at some point somebody gonna stumble upon it.
Yes.
yeah.
This is some truth.
I'm
This
holding
helped
us
me.
back from the bag. We got to talk to a
It's
racist.
not even about the bag.
I
though.
wouldn't
It's
be
just
opposed to
about-
it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to sitting down and talking to a racist. I want to know what happened
What
to you
is
to
it?
make you
What
hate
is
us.
it?
Like,
Yeah.
why?
It starts
do you,
at home, bro.
But even at home, what is it that made your parents like? Was it an experience that you had with that particular?
I don't think
Their
I don't think
rationale,
we'll
yeah.
ever find that answer.
Okay, can I ask a
I think there's
question?
too
When
many
you say
different answers.
What's the
Racism.
chick who oh, go ahead. My
When you
bad.
say racism, like what is your definition of racism?
Somebody that hates another race based off of the color of their skin. They don't have any, and then they create, these narratives that aren't necessarily true to support their
But
beliefs.
do we all not do that on some level with stereotypes with other races?
But that's where you go into the two differences between racism and being prejudiced.
Yeah.
Being racist is a system of dominance, right?
Yeah,
because
they're the oppressors.
right. The oppressors could only be racist, but the others, like us minorities, we could be prejudiced.
Because we have nothing to benefit from our actions.
Exactly.
I ain't talking about that. I said stereotypes. Like, and on some level, it's all this. It's like that movie Crash.
But that's human nature, though.
I feel like we all judge off of stereotypes to some
We
extent.
all judge.
We all do.
Yeah.
We generalize a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does help to
it
understand certain
too.
situations because, let's be real, some stereotypes are proven to be true to a certain extent. Now, I don't believe they
But not
apply
across the
100%.
masses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Yes, not
never
generally.
there's never any, that's what they say in psychology, there's never anything that's 100%.
Imagine how boring this world would be without people of color, though. Like, they want us gone, but, like, I'm just like, what would y'all really be doing then? Like,
They have no culture.
we influenced y'all culture. Yeah, exactly.
They
Like,
have
they have no
none,
culture.
your
so-
kids are doing our dances, singing our songs,
They
and
don't
listening
see
to
it
our
that way.
podcast.
There'd be no time.
Imagine how bored y'all would be. You should be thanking us every
They got
day.
casserole, though.
What's a what is a casserole? It's like a
never had
I'm
lasagna.
out of here.
I never had it.
Out of here.
Do y'all believe we should get reparations?
Didn't I bring that from the last?
I think so, bro.
And how
I
much
don't
do you
know.
want? How much do you want
I
exactly?
don't think we are in a position to get reparations because I don't think
I
as
just
a,
told
You don't think
I
we
hate
use
this
them
question.
wisely?
I don't
Y'all
think
got y'all reparations when Obama was in office and he gave you a $300 check. Shut up.
I blew that.
always
says
Wasn't
that.
enough.
She
That's
always
what
says
you
that.
got.
You
Yeah,
get to
I
split
don't-
with everybody, goddamn.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
was
we're
what
in a
you get.
position to receive it because we, as a culture, we haven't been taught how to manage
And
finances.
he couldn't give it just to black people. That's why I had to give it to everybody because he just wanted to give it to us, but he was just like, okay, we gotta give it to everybody so nobody
You
gets
have to
offended.
justify it.
And it's
'Cause it's
you
gonna be
have
like
to
that-
justify it.
it's gonna
But
be like
was
that,
your 40
Dave
acres
Chappelle
and a
skit.
mule.
Yeah.
Like it's a skit, but I could imagine dudes do the shit right now. What Tax used to say, like dudes would drive foreign whips, but walk around domestic piss in the projects. It's like
Damn,
imagine.
that's true.
You're a big
we
fan of
have
Tax.
always argued
That's
that.
so
Actually,
true.
I never
big
met
fan
one
of
who's a fan.
Tax, but I never met somebody such the biggest fan of. But Tax is for the
I just
culture,
appreciate
so
because
it's
I'm a
just-
big person on duality.
And you're
I
also
don't
from
condone
Brooklyn.
any of his past actions and what he's locked up for, but at the same time, you have to appreciate somebody who comes from where he comes from, did the things that he has done, and inspires people to grow and
He
be
gave
better. Because he
podcasters
does
of
talk down
color a
upon
platform.
gang culture. He does talk down upon gang culture. He wants more for us to a certain
yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
Like all the other shit, he's a byproduct
I
of
don't
his
even
environment.
think about that when I think about Tax Stone. Like I feel like everybody has a past, everybody has a future, and what you did in the past is necessarily does not define your future. But damn, you made me forget so speaking of Dave Chappelle, with the recent thing of who was it that I think it was Tory Lanez, he said on Instagram. It
He
was
has a
like
receding hairline.
yes, he does.
That poor boy.
It was it's a
happens.
video
I
of
did like his album,
a
though.
woman,
Really?
Caucasian woman twerking to a song on beat, and somebody said, a white man says, the white community would like to give her away to the black people for Aisha, and we'll take Aisha Curry, and he goes, yeah, we can work on that. Like we'll give away Aisha, we'll take the white girl. Since we
thanks.
just said Dave Chappelle, I thought about race wars. If you had
That episode was funny as hell. By
This
the
is
way.
about to be a
What up,
problematic.
What are you about to ask me right now?
Is this about to be a problematic question?
if you had to give away one of our own for another person, another races, who would you give away? If this was Dave Chappelle race wars right now,
Raven Simone.
What?
I'll give, yeah,
What's
I
that
get
guy's
that.
name?
Who'd you
So
trade
who
her
would you
for?
take it? Who'd
Yeah.
you
Who'd you
take
trade
for
her
Raven
for?
Simone?
Jane Elliott.
Oh, Jane Elliott. Okay.
The old white lady.
The one who says that old white folk are
she would
just
do like the studies with the
Yes,
white.
I've
Yeah,
learned
they're
about
just
her.
faded black
Jane
folk.
Elliott is so
I
dope.
killed this.
That was excellent.
Empty.
very good.
Are you asking that to the room or everybody?
Everybody, yeah.
Or to them? I mean, to them or everybody? Fuck. Pass. come back to me.
That's a good question.
I'm not that quick thinking.
Oh damn, shit! Left it on me. Damn, son.
I'll trade Daniel Caesar for
He's Canadian.
Oh.
but
Don't
he's
count.
still black. And he's
I think
nuts.
They don't count.
I
Anyone
don't know.
doing country?
I don't know enough about him to have
I don't
an
know.
opinion.
That situation when
That's
he
how I
was
feel about it too. It's
Yeah.
just like he's not like when you're not from America, you just don't understand the
See,
plight.
that's the
of
thing. I would love to
situation.
sit down with somebody from a foreign country to understand how they
Because
view race.
I'm speaking
from,
to them, and it's just like they do not understand our plight because in their head, and this is coming from a Trinidadian man, and he tells me all the time where he come from is technically like he had to go outside to use the bathroom, like a little hole and everything, and he came here and his family struggled and they worked hard to get their house, to get the jobs that they have, and to make this money. So they see us, they be like, yeah, we lazy, and I'm just like, you can kiss my ass. Because you don't know the struggle that my grandparents
Yeah.
had to go through, how mentally fucked up they were, and how that trickled down from generation to generation. So you sit here and tell us that we're lazy, but you would never understand the plight because it's more than just a physical thing. It's a mental.
Yeah, I think the previous generation doesn't respect what millennials have to go through.
I agree.
Like, the cost of living was so much
Cheaper
back then, and they didn't have like everyday resources that we use now. Like, I have a cell phone, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I got a whole bunch of shit. Yeah, they're not necessarily needs, but I still want them.
comes to like
But their
understand.
needs
Like,
Yeah,
they don't want to
it was
understand.
like
They
color
didn't.
TV and,
They didn't go to college and had to fucking take out a loan, and now they gotta pay that shit back.
because city
They didn't
schools,
have to
city colleges
graduate
free.
and get a degree, and then it's like, Nah, you ain't got
But
enough
they
experience.
did though. It
Different.
was just different. Life was just different. So city college was free. So if you went to city college, you got a college
And that's if
education
they
for free.
went to college. Most of them
They
just
went to
came
college.
here and just
But people
went straight
forget
to
when
work.
the 70s came and everybody was sitting here with the Black Panthers and Black Power. What did the government do? They sat here and gave y'all, not y'all, but gave your people before y'all state jobs and city jobs to shut everybody the fuck up.
Strategy.
Strategy.
Do y'all think like in order for the world to get to a better place, like that generation before it just has to like go away, like die off?
You can say
But
that
what
all day
about their
because
kids?
they
What about the
trickle
mentality
down.
that
But
they,
you know,
they
but like,
pass down?
all right. So with social media, I feel like you're like getting like an abundance of information every day. Like, so you're getting awareness more
Not
than you
necessarily
would back
accurate
in the day.
information.
Thank
I
you.
think
I feel like maybe the kids would be like, yo, this shit is fucked up. Like, why is this white man shooting this black kid? You know what I mean?
I think some of them do think like that, but I don't think all of them do.
I don't think all of them do, but like in my head, I feel like all these old motherfuckers have to like die.
I feel like no matter what you do, again, it
Dead
goes back
ass.
to stereotypes. You're always gonna feel some type of way about the other race or whatever based off of stereotypes.
I think
Like,
prejudice will never
we all
disappear.
think when I think about a white
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
I think about bland potato salad and Kraft
Raisins.
macaroni and cheese. I don't think about and bologna because when it's wet,
Ugh.
I thought about my trade, y'all. I would trade R. Kelly for Robin Thicke.
I don't want Robin Thicke because he fucking
Ew.
didn't he cheat on homegirl
Yeah.
with some fucking skinny ass fucking.
no, that him and Paula had Paula was a nice little cokehead.
And Robin ain't all that though. Robin ain't all like he ain't like that good of a singer.
Well, I love his
Robin
music.
is just
He
like
ain't
his
all that.
father.
He ain't had
I
no-
was
What's the
Rolling
last shit that
Stones.
slapped?
For
We
me,
don't even know.
or in general. For
Like-
me, it was the evolution of Robin Thicke.
Sex
And how
Policy,
old
that's
was
what
that?
it's
A
called.
long time ago.
All right, next.
I didn't have nothing else,
He
okay,
still
y'all?
Make music that if you play it today, you'd be like, oh shit, like I.
Yeah, he ain't do nothing like problematic,
musically.
but it's
Who?
still like,
Oh yeah.
wait, you was wilding.
I don't know if I would trade. I don't know who I would trade. Like
I'm gonna keep R.
Chingy?
Kelly. Like, I'm
Chingy? You said Chingy?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can we trade Chingy for
He's a
like?
free
right
agent.
Can we trade Chingy for Eminem or something? I don't know.
You want
Eminem.
That's not even equal.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Who's-
don't
Not
know.
even close.
Who is equal to Chingy though? Like I don't fucking know.
Why would you want
Bobby
Eminem?
Valentino.
I don't know. Like he's wait. Why would I want Eminem as one of the greatest rappers of all time? Just trading for one of the worst.
People
rappers
don't
of all
have
time?
a, people don't have an honest conversation about Eminem.
No,
Thank you.
I will be honest with you. I agree with you. I think his last two albums were the worst shit I've ever heard in my entire life, and I think
And
he's
he
You
only
didn't
got
like
away with it
Kamikaze?
because
he's
he was
ruining his
Eminem.
like. He's not aging
I like
gracefully in
Kamikaze.
hip hop like Jay-Z is, but like I don't
Wait,
know.
what?
He's not aging gracefully in hip hop. Eminem's not aging.
You say Jay-Z's not aging gracefully.
No,
in
Eminem
his
is.
songs?
Eminem
He
Like-
is aging gracefully in hip hop,
Shout out
but
to-
Eminem isn't.
I don't
Shout
think
out.
people just have a real conversation about his career in general. Like his subject matter is not for people of color, and he just puts
Very true.
words well together.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's not. He's a good. He could like good. He's good at like
Good wordsmith.
flowing, but like he's
He's
not
a good wordsmith.
He's a good technical rapper
Yes.
I don't want to talk.
who
about
just
100%
happened to have songs
So
that
if you had
charted
to put
because
your
of his
top-
skin of his color, and who was behind him in Dr. Dre.
I agree that he's a good technical
Phone
rapper.
dropped 4 times
Shut
in a
the
row.
fuck up.
Shit's broken. Screen's probably cracked.
It's not though. So, ew.
So you guys don't speak about current events on your podcast, but like, do you you guys are aware? Like, do you guys on
Somewhat.
Twitter and all that? You pay attention to what's going on?
Somewhat, a little bit.
When you see disheartening situations about people getting killed, or people getting killed, like Nipsey or whatever, just as an example, like, does that affect your conscience anyway? Like, how does that
I
make-
was personally fucked up about it for like a long period of time because he's not that far from my age range. And then he was just a dude that was actually doing good.
Yeah.
Usually when you hear about some shit happening in the hood is usually, we know how the hood works. Like you brought it upon yourself. So when some shit happens, in most cases,
You deserve it.
you can that's
Or you-
karma for you.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
for the fact that he was doing good for his community and he wanted better, that really had
But
me
he
like
has a past too, so who's to say?
We don't
what's
know that
what,
past,
you know?
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
haven't seen. I personally haven't seen anything negative about that man. Like you
But that's-
think
that's you.
some shit would come out.
I mean, like, this is the thing when gangbanging is life. So it's just like, I'm not going to excuse any gangbanger for anything. And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, he wasn't a man of honor before he died and doing the right thing for his people in the community. But I'm not going to act like I know his past and what the Wheel
We
of Fortune
don't.
had for him. I
At the end of
don't.
the day,
Yeah, I don't think he
we
was a
don't know
perfect
how many
individual,
You
but
don't
like
know how many lives he
And you
might
know,
have
nobody's
taken.
perfect. And you just like, you never know who got a body under their belt. But
Never
I would never
know.
say that's a reason for somebody like him to be taken away from the people who love him so soon. But we all gotta go at one point or another.
that doesn't
And I
affect.
do feel like he has left a legacy And it's a great legacy in that no matter what age we are always going to remember Nipsey Hussle. And the people after us is going to know who Nipsey is.
And not for nothing, I
So
really
true.
don't feel like he died in vain. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
his death really
Has
did
sparked a lot
something
of
to the culture.
consciousness,
And
yeah.
sometimes
It
you have
sparked
to
a lot of
die in order to
consciousness.
like achieve this level of transcendence where it's
It's
just
the
like
truth. It's the
It's
truth.
And it's
unfortunate, but yeah.
unfortunately,
It's
like,
unfortunate, but it's the truth.
When you
we got Nipsey for that.
It's the truth.
do you guys ever think about like your legacy? I mean, what are you doing the podcast for? Like, it's not just for you guys. It's not
For
just
the
for
bag. Oh,
No.
sorry.
you. But no, for real. Like
And y'all
outside of
worry
that,
about
like
me saying I need to financial stability in a relationship. You talking about a bag every 10 seconds.
I mean, I like nice shit.
I respect
geez.
it. But like,
Sophisticated ignorance. You know, this
There
is
you
the
go.
difficulties of him now.
Here we
Like,
go.
who's the ignorant and who's the sophisticated? Like that's what I wanna
Everybody.
know.
Yeah, it depends on the day.
It depends on the
And-
topic.
and the drink or whatever.
she's
Like,
sophisticated
Yeah.
today, and he's. Well, I think they took turns.
they're passing the
Yeah.
ignorance
It-
around.
It depends. I tend to say things that Stephen probably won't say out loud. Because for me, it's just like, I don't see the big deal. You want me to be honest? I'm going to say it to where he'll later
feel
on he'll be
you.
like, I can't believe you said that. But good job.
I love
Good
that.
job.
Yeah,
No, 'cause
I
honestly,
love
even
that.
after I had my rant last week and I had said something, we left, and Jeff was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of get it now." Like, so
I did say that, didn't I? I was,
Yeah,
I was,
you
I
get-
was
you
stunting.
got
I was
in-
stunting like I didn't say that, but I did it. I
yeah,
did say
you
that.
did. You got
You
the
wilded out,
rant.
though. I ain't
I
gonna
did
lie.
wild out.
So like, but like, what is your purpose for this interview? It's like, what's like
What's your
the legacy you want to leave behind with the show?
I mean, we see where podcasting is going as a community in general. Like, it's probably if video's number one, then podcast is probably number two in terms of media platforms. So I'm in this for the long run. We've never received any offers for being on a network or things of that nature. But
Do what you love, and it's gonna come to you.
yeah, like I'm not. I know early on I was like kind of stressed, like yo, we got to do these numbers,
Yeah.
get some attention. But then after a while, it's like yo, this shit is either just gonna happen or it's
it's
not
not.
gonna happen. Like I can't control it. So I would love to eventually end up on a streaming platform and collect a check. I'd probably even do this shit for free just for the sake of
It's fun.
yeah, just because I really enjoy the shit.
But if you really love it so much, you'll find an avenue. Let's say you go out there, you win Powerball today, you can make your own multimedia company. Bam.
I've thought about that, but
Same.
I'm very particular in content and other people. Like I've seen so many podcasts pop up, and it's like, yo, y'all just a gimmick. Like y'all ain't really here for the long run. Like y'all trying to,
Yeah.
slide in
the
some
wave, as they
slide
say.
in some DMs. We're like, yo,
Yeah.
because I've definitely have seen people change. Like, oh, you a podcaster? Like they hold that to a certain
A
title
lot of people
now.
don't
Yeah.
even know I do, and then when I tell them, it's just like, well, why haven't I been known? I'm just like, because that's why.
Like people
Exactly.
forget, I mean, we're talking in the microphones, but there's a real art to this shit. There's a real
Yeah.
science to this shit, like segues and just in general, taking out words from your vocabulary, such as and all that shit. Like, it's a real science to this shit. So
Yeah,
not
I think
everyone
I
is
had-
really built for this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
think
can't
I
do this,
had-
my nigga.
I had a really wow moment when at a previous employer somebody had walked in and he just kept staring at me for a long period of time, and I'm like,
Creepy.
I might got some beef I don't know about.
You was ready
Yeah.
to shoot the fair one.
And then homeboy was like, yo, you got a podcast, right? I'm like, who's asking? What you mean podcast? And then he was like, ain't your co-host Naima?
And that
Oh
was
yeah, I got a show. And then
Okay.
and then he was asking all these questions. It was like,
But that wasn't the first time you were recognized, was it?
I mean, I probably been recognizing people just weren't bold
Wouldn't
enough
say
to
nothing, yeah.
say anything.
How does that make you feel though? Because
It's crazy
Weird.
because it's you don't really think there's probably people on the train, people on the
Yeah.
bus, walking around. They probably walk past you and it's I listened to this show,
Yeah.
and they probably just don't say anything at all. So it was really a proud moment for me
Yeah,
because
I agree.
I'm still we still consider ourselves really early in this
Yeah.
game. So it's
Do you guys make money off your podcast?
yes and no. I mean, we have a sponsor, but the way sponsors work is you get a promo code. If people, use the promo code, you get proceeds from that. But outside of that,
So, obviously, I feel like we established multiple times on this episode, there's no linear trajectory to podcasting and even life in general. So, how do you guys remain consistent and remain focused? What makes you keep showing up each day? Is it just the relationship that you guys have, or is it just...
you never seen that meme of it's two people that's digging underground and one person stops and gives up, and then the other person keeps digging, and it's like a pot of gold or something.
There's a book about that. It's
That's
called 3
an
Feet from
elaborate
Gold.
meme. I've never seen that before.
But it's like
It's a book
every
on
time
that.
I've thought about like, yo, it's cold outside. I don't feel like coming to the studio. It's like the moment I quit, maybe the moment that's
Never give
a
up
network.
5 minutes from the blessing.
That may be the moment a network just happened to come across the show, and it's like about to send an email. So it's like I just gotta keep going. I mean,
But you ever thought about interviewing for the networks? Like maybe you should reach out to Vice. Like maybe you should put together a segment.
Vice.
Answer my
I'll tell you
emails,
some.
Vice.
I'll
Answer
tell
my
you some
emails.
shit about Vice.
Uh-oh.
Off air.
Honestly, I don't think Vice is like the because I've heard, based off what Deuce and Merrill said, I can see how they can be a little problematic to work with and work for.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about some more like niggas need to be locked up at Vice shit.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
Oh,
shit.
never mind.
Oh, let me
I try
drip-
to stay away from the real
me sip my
Yeah, I
controversy.
mean,
Right.
we don't have to say no names, but like, can you give us a brief overview of what the fuck
Basically,
you're talking
I
about?
knew somebody that worked over there, and she basically said there was a lot of sexual harassment going on
I can somehow see
Oh yeah, I
that.
can see
because
that.
it's a very, very, very laid back establishment.
Where they just
Like,
smoking
they
weed in
had-
the office and doing
they be
lines at
having,
the
like,
table.
parties.
Fucking
like-
Action Bronson and shit. Fuck outta
Like
here.
baby having parties like all the time, and she's like, "Yo, I gotta fucking go to work. Like, why are we having another party? Like,
crazy.
y'all don't even work in my department. Like, I really don't need to be buddy with you."
That's
So
some nuts shit.
yeah,
Let me find out the motherfuckers at Gotham Podcast Studio are doing some crazy shit. I'm out. I don't care what y'all say about the bag. I don't care what I say about integrity. I'm out, bruh. I'm not fucking with
I
that
hear
shit.
you. But whatever.
Nuts. That's fucking nuts that people feel like they could just get away with that and just do that shit.
I mean,
Because no one is complaining. Or
this
saying
is
Yeah.
America.
I mean, I have
Exactly.
a personal
Only gonna do
attachment
what
to
you
that type of
allow.
behavior, but like,
Say it
I
again.
just-
Say it
People are
again.
only going to do what you allow.
And that's
I
across
agree.
the board for everything.
That's for everything.
For every was business, romantic,
Everything.
friendships,
Partnership,
family,
yeah.
they're
Yeah,
only
it's
going to
true for
do what
life.
you allow.
Yeah, when you see something wrong, you gotta nip
You
that
gotta
in the
say
bud
something.
straight
Because if
up.
not, it's gonna be a slippery slope. And I swear, all week I've been like, because I had like a funeral yesterday, a wake yesterday, and I kind of did flip out on somebody I really love, but it was just like, nah, y'all gonna stop being passive aggressive. You're gonna stop the bullshit because it's just like either you say what you
say
feel
or just
and
shut
feel
up.
what
Don't
you
say
say
anything
or
at all.
shut the fuck up.
Yep.
And that's just that.
What do you guys think that is? Like people just being scared to say what's on their mind and like saying how they feel. Like, is it just fear?
So sometimes I do feel like some people play chess and some people play checkers. So sometimes you want to like throw a line out there and see who gonna bite. So that's just like that's a psychological game. That's like so that is for people we call sociopaths, I guess. So yeah, and then you have just the passive aggressive bullshit. Where it's just like you want to say something, but you're not bold enough just to throw your rock and just let's just sit there.
And see what happens. Yeah.
So you be passive aggressive. You wait to see who's gonna take the bait, and then once they take the bait, you go off. But it's just like, bitch, you should just went off.
Yeah.
I think that's a byproduct of social media because people are so
And
in
that
their
was my
phones right now.
question.
Right,
People
I
are
was
so-
going to ask you what questions you have.
I think people are so into like social media and communicating through apps and Twitter. I only got
And not
140
face-to-face, yeah.
characters. Like
Yes.
I'm only gonna leave this little comment on your Instagram. I've seen people do not know how to communicate anymore.
And I feel like our
So
Yeah.
I there's been plenty of times that like I befriend. I have a lot of friends, associates, people that I've met in I've worked with, people that I've met through social media, and more times than not, the people that I've met through social media be like, yo, you're the same person you are online that you are in person. Because it's like,
Shit.
They find that weird, apparently.
yeah,
You
because
know,
it's
people
not the
always tell
norm.
me that I'm the same person I portray online in person. Like,
Yeah.
I am who I am, regardless of whatever.
I feel like subliminals are big in our generation, don't
Yeah,
you?
Yes,
feel?
subliminals are
definitely.
very
They're
big.
big.
Subliminals are.
I fear for the
big.
younger generation because they're being birthed off that shit. Like
No, I
they're-
feel that the younger
they're-
generation is
Figure
a
it
little
out.
different. Honestly,
they
I
have
always tell
iPads in
people
their
that
hand at like 3.
It's not that because if you talk to a child and these kids these days, they are so honest. It's sickening. Like you just want them to shut the fuck up. Honestly,
They have,
Maybe
like, no
kids be
filter.
hurting your feelings
it's
sometimes.
just be
is
like,
what you're
shut up, little nigga. Like I ain't asked you that.
saying. A little
Dead
kid
ass.
has hurt my feelings before. Dead
That
ass.
ass.
Like I want to snuff
But that's
that. I
actually
want
a
to snuff
good
that little
thing.
kid.
Like
out.
they're not hindered by.
No,
you
but I
know?
wanted to fight. Like yo, bro.
What did he
And I
say?
don't like that.
though.
Don't say
What
that
did
to
he
me.
say?
Dead
I
ass.
don't even know, bro. But like, I think I told the story before.
Oh my god, what happened?
Nah, I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
I remember one time
Fuck it,
my
I'm
little
not gonna say it,
nephew
I'm not
said
gonna
I
say it.
couldn't sing. I was like, what, nigga?
But did he lie
They
though?
don't get it.
In that moment, I wasn't really trying. I was just playing around.
But it's like, damn.
Like, damn.
but-
all right,
He's like,
but
be
at the
quiet.
same time-
You
Like,
can't
do better.
At the
sing.
same time, you gotta appreciate that because you gotta learn. You gotta know, like with learned behavior, eventually when you become an adult,
He's
like
going to
you,
learn how to lie.
No, let me.
not
tell you
even
something.
that, he's gonna start to like hold shit back.
That's true. Too.
Nah, I didn't correct him.
I love that because I have a little cousin who's in my house, and I'll never forget. I think she was like 7 or 8, and she was upstairs with me and my ex-wife at the time, and I was like, "Yo, I got a headache," and she was like, "Nah, I don't care if you have a headache," and I said, "What? I don't care." I said, "Get your ass downstairs." She was just like, "What?" I said, "She said, but my mommy said I can express." I said, "Yeah, express your ass down them steps." You know, my shit with that.
That's funny.
And she looked at me, and I was just like, "I'm sorry, but Nana don't give a damn. Go downstairs." Because I just was like, I said I got a headache. My little cousin's about. I don't care. I'm just like.
Because that's what growing up does to you. It takes away that freedom.
Yeah,
that's why.
So I wanted her to express herself, but it was also like express your ass down them steps.
So I'm sure we all have had like a moment where a little kid is coming to us with like a clipboard and be like, "Yeah, I'm trying to sell this amount of candy for my fucking softball team or whatever,
basketball team,
whatever." The fucking bullshit, the scam.
Of course
So this kid comes up to me.
Hateful.
Yo, this kid comes up to me. He's like, "Yeah, can I have a few dollars for my whatever?" And I have no cash. I didn't have no cash. I was about to ask the nigga if he had Cash App, but I know he didn't have a cell phone. And
you ever seen dudes play CeeLo with Cash App? Funny.
Oh my god.
I'll be winning that shit.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
so he was like,
Good times.
He was like, "You have a few dollars?" I'm like, "Nah, my bad, little bro," and I don't. And his whole attitude just switched. He was like, "That's why you got boogers in your nose. That's why you ain't got no money." I was about to clothesline this little nigga like.
He called you a broke boy.
Yo.
That's why you got boogers in your nose.
Crazy.
I was ready to square. I was really dead ass ready to square up. Like,
I would have just laughed. I would have laughed.
I did laugh, but I wanted to punch him in his face.
I finally found my question. So
God.
petty versus setting boundaries. Are we calling everything petty behavior? Where do we set boundaries?
Again, I was just speaking about that earlier when we was talking about relationships. I'm still working on boundaries versus being guarded. And sometimes I feel like when you're being petty, you're just doing something for the initial reaction of somebody, for like vengeful and like being mean purposes. Boundaries is just like, I don't accept this kind of behavior in my life because it does this to me. That's the boundary. You have a rhyme and reason behind why you're telling somebody you can't do this to me, or I won't allow myself to entertain this kind of behavior or be in this kind of environment. That's the boundary. But when you're doing something like, oh, such and such did this to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and like throw this shit out the window.
Yeah,
now you're
just fucking petty.
Yeah,
that's
just
not
deliberate.
you just
Just deliberate.
I have a question. So, like, do you consider it petty if you're in a relationship and let's say your partner does something that you don't like, or use a type of language that you don't like or whatever? Is it petty if you kind of mirror that behavior because you want them to see how you felt?
like in a teasing.
Not even in a teasing way, but let's just say the exact same way that they delivered it to you. Is that being petty, or is that just mirroring?
I won't even
I'm petty
consider
the
that
person
petty.
that may be a good way.
Yeah, that's
I'm
more
I'm
guilty
the king of that.
that's
I'm
just
king of that.
negative energy that you just bring into
But
the
why is it
relationship.
negative energy?
Because
I want you to see. Okay, that's like I was with I was with somebody, and every time they needed to vent and just like express themselves, you had to be there. The minute I vented or expressed myself, is why all you do is complain. It's just like, no, bitch, I want to talk too. I had a long day too. Like,
See,
why
that's
did
different.
you
If
do
they're
that?
just
People need
venting,
that, like-
yeah.
so then I just started doing little things like, bitch, when you vent, I'm right there for you, like, no questions. But if I vent, it's just like, I need a break? Do I need to be single?
Sometimes people just don't know they do the things they do, so
I
they need to
agree.
be brought
They need
that
to be-
self-awareness.
It needs to be reflected back at them, right?
Yeah.
I agree, and that's the only reason I would say, like, depending on the the situation, that I don't think it's petty, because there's some people who are really not aware of themselves. Some people are not conscientious,
Not self-aware, yeah.
and sometimes the easiest way to deliver that is to mirror that behavior, at least even in a smaller dose, so they can kind of see how they're being perceived.
But I think that's where communication come from.
Yeah, I was
I'm
about to
really
say
big-
that.
I'm
I
really,
say
really big on
communicate first
communication.
before you do any sort of action.
anything.
If after you communicate and then they don't,
Yeah.
then maybe
Yeah.
start acting the fool.
If we can't have an honest dialogue, then we can't have anything. Because like, if you can't respect where I'm
Because
coming
if you're
from,
giving the
like,
same energy back, what does that solve?
yeah.
Nothing.
That's true too. With everything going on this like 2019, I feel like relationships and love is just totally different. Do you feel like it's really easy to be emasculated in your relationship, whether you're a female or a male? Because I feel like whether you're female or a male, if you have a dominant or a strong masculine energy, you will feel emasculated. So is it easier in this day and age to feel emasculated when you're meeting somebody?
I mean, I guess it all depends on how you were raised, and if you hold gender roles to a certain extent, how important it is to you. Like, I'm not big on gender roles per se. Like, the only thing that I'm really big on is, like, if you're somebody I'm pursuing, I prefer that you not spending your money when you're with me, per se.
And if she was to spend her money, you will feel like you was.
I mean, I would feel a certain way, but it wouldn't be anything that I would bring up like, yo, this is making me really uncomfortable. If you want to go, you know, we out together and you end up paying for something because you want to pay, then it is what it is.
Well, what if she's, let's say, she's so independent that every time you go out, she's just like, because whatever past she has, it's just like, no, I'd rather pay.
I mean, if she wanna, if she
That
got
don't
it,
bother me.
she got
Go
it.
ahead, hit
Yeah.
a check right there.
Nah, I don't
Like,
know, I'm
that shit don't
different.
bother
Like,
me.
nah, I was raised
I'll bring it
different.
up as like, yo, I could pay sometimes too, but if she feel like this is what she want to do,
I'll be like, yo, I respect.
Right.
I'll
But
be
you
like,
gotta let a
I
woman be a
respect your
woman too.
independency. Like,
But the
like,
woman-
But you gotta let a
Have you
woman be a
ever-
woman because sometimes
That's
that
true.
she
Have you
wants to
ever
do
felt
that.
emasculated
but you got to
as
be a
woman?
man sometimes. Though you got to be like, you got to do that. Like,
I feel like it should be equal because I mean we're in a different age now where it's like
Thank you.
you
It's a
shouldn't
different
expect
age
me to
now.
pay for everything, and
So
I
I'm
damn
trying to
sure
say,
not gonna
like,
expect you to
there's
pay for
women out
everything.
here who do feel emasculated because they're not allowed to do certain things or feel
Yeah.
certain ways.
You
It's
gotta
just
think
like,
about
There are
that.
people who are trying to take away their woman essence.
You gotta
and
let a
those are the
woman be a
niggas you
woman,
stay
bro.
away
Is that
from
being, like,
because those are the
controlling?
niggas
Yeah.
who are controlling.
Yeah.
no.
Right.
The only thing that makes me feel emasculated is being talked down to. Like if you're talking to me like I'm a child,
same
or
way.
Yeah.
you're talking
I
to
don't
me
tolerate
like you're
the
my mother
disrespect.
or
Yeah.
something like that, that's the only time I feel emasculated. But if you make more money than me, or you want to
Yeah, that
catch
doesn't
the
bother
check,
me.
I don't
No.
care about. I'm not insecure like that, so
Just take care of
I don't
me.
care.
yo, but
Shit,
it's
pay
crazy.
for
I
my
brought up
meal.
that conversation in relationships before, and it's just like, I've been told that they're just telling me how they feel. They're not necessarily talking down to me. So it may come off that way, but it's just they're just saying how they
I
feel.
think it's all about the delivery. and
Delivery
what you say.
matters.
Yeah,
Definitely,
like you
definitely.
gotta.
Delivery matters.
It really does.
But if
I'm
you're
not one for
upset
arguing.
as
I
a
know,
we were
woman,
talking
the
about that a
delivery's
few
out
weeks
the
ago.
window.
Yes.
Like at that moment, you're like every little motherfucking bitch in the whole wide world. Like, well, for me, I'm you know, southern raised.
In those
can't help
situations,
it.
though, it's all based on the situation. Because if, let's say, I pissed you off in a minor way, you shouldn't be spazzing on me. You
That's
could
a-
be
yes.
you could be like upset, you know, voice your issue at the time. But if you taking like, oh, I left the toilet seat open and you cursing me
Nah,
up
at
and
3
down,
o'clock in the morning, nobody wants to fall it. Like, no, like get your.
that was just a random.
Yeah.
That's not
I've
something
been
I
through
do.
that at one time. 3 o'clock in the morning, you half sleep and try to use the bathroom. You fall
It was
in.
full of hell
What
in.
the fuck is going on?
That's
You
a
be
problem,
pissed.
damn it.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm a huge advocate for like self-reflection. So like, what are some things that
Yes.
you, both of you, may need to do in your personal lives to like become a better you? Maybe you need you need to change.
Discipline, determination. I'm a huge procrastinator, and I think it's because I have like that. I like to call it like the Michael Jordan effect. Like
You work better under pressure.
last
like?
minute.
Putting
Because
that-
there's been plenty
that
of
work.
times we ain't have no episodes ideas, and I'll be like, yo, all right, I'm about to go. I got X, Y, and Z things to do, but I got 10, 15 minutes that I could just lock in and figure out this episode. And for whatever
I've done
reason,
that a few times.
yeah, so it's like, I feel like I almost could do that in like almost all situations.
I feel like the best content comes from that though.
I feel like the most people who procrastinate are actually really intelligent because that's why you procrastinate.
super
Because you're like,
Thank you.
yo,
Thank you, CR.
I know myself. I know I'm gonna get it done in
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like,
Like
I
I
see y'all,
procrastinate
thank you
on
so
shit.
much.
Yeah, like
There you
you'll
go.
you'll procrastinate on shit you know
You can get done.
You can get away with.
exactly.
Yeah.
I agree, and I'm saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying, like,
It's not
Yeah,
a
it's
good
reckless.
It's reckless.
Can't
just
do
I've
it.
I've
done
been
it
doing that
too.
my
I've done
entire
it
life,
too.
yo. Fucking
Yeah.
A grade papers. Fucking night
Yes,
before.
Night
especially
before.
papers.
Yo.
Yes.
Same here.
I could write a
I've
damn paper.
never, I never studied for a test.
Me
Goddamn.
neither.
Get the
No.
fuck out of here.
Never studied for
But
a
wait,
test.
what was the question?
I was gonna ask like, what are some things that you maybe need to like work,
Self-reflection.
yeah, self-reflection, like work on personally, like to make a better you.
All right, so I feel like over the past 2 years, I've been working on finding my own voice and learning how to communicate properly with other people and different like personalities, and not feel like what I'm saying is too blunt and it might be too rude to hurt someone's feelings. But standing in my own truth and being like, this is how I feel and this is what I mean. Hashtag no offense. But you know, because sometimes I would say something and I'll think back like, damn, I probably should have said that. I probably offended somebody.
I remember those phone
Unfortunately,
conversations.
Like, I
You,
usually would agree with you, but you know, this is the age of Aquarius. 2019. So if you don't know, I'm
The
very
age-
spiritual and very mystical. Like I do readings and all that type of shit. So
It's
this
mystical.
whole episode, I've been like picking up on your energies. That's why I told you to go home and look at your book again today.
All right.
And this is the age of
Sounds like
Aquarius,
homework.
so you need to not filter yourself. Just say what you have to
Yeah.
say because it doesn't matter. Be like, this is the age of truth. Either you're walking in your truth this year. If you
Or
don't walk in
you're
your
not.
truth, you're getting
Speak on it,
spanked every
queen.
day.
Yeah.
Like
come
every
back.
day, you're sitting here crying because you're not doing what the fuck God wants you to do, and it's just like He's giving you the outline. You're not catching the sign, so because you're not catching it, you're gonna get spanked. So if you ever, this is to everybody, if you find yourself like sitting down just crying, like you're just upset, and you feel like nothing's going right, it's because you're not paying attention.
And there's nothing wrong with being lost.
There's
But-
nothing wrong with being
happens.
lost, but you have to find the way back. You have
Yeah.
to find
Yeah.
the path again.
There's nothing
It's
wrong with
hard.
being lost, but just know
It
that
is
you're
hard.
lost.
Like
It's
go dance in the
difficult.
forest, but
It's
go
not
back
easy.
to your
I
path.
think
yeah.
I've been doing good with that. The end of last year to the beginning of this year was like a whole bunch of shit just going wrong in my life. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you know what? Can't control it. Not going to stress about it. I'm just going to do what I can and move forward.
Yeah. You can control your reaction to it.
That's
right,
absolutely
exactly.
true.
That's what I've been doing a lot, controlling my
Yeah,
reaction. And then-
exactly. And
That's
that's
something
has
I've been
been a
working
test,
on,
controlling
too.
your reaction, because I feel like that was one of my biggest tests.
Me too.
I react so poorly
Yeah.
to things where it's just like I can go from 0 to 60 based
Me
off
too.
of one word,
Me
and it's
too.
my trigger word. But it's just like you have to do the research to find out why is
Why?
that your trigger word, and how can we change that from being a trigger word, and we can use that energy to something else. Where it's just like not a blow up, but it's like, you know what? Let me catch myself.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, like asking yourself
Yeah.
those
But
questions,
that's
like
not-
why am I reacting this way?
I
That's
had to
not-
work on that.
It's not that bad also because you are human. So you're
yeah,
supposed to
yes.
react.
So you have
but
to-
you don't
yeah.
let it
And I always tell
prolong.
people that like I'm not Jesus. Like, what's my favorite thing to say is that me and my sister fight back and forth. This is like, if I want forgiveness, to learn forgiveness, I'll call on Jesus. If I want a motherfucker to be smited, I'm calling on God. I ain't got time to talk to Jesus because he gonna tell me forgive. No, bye. I want revenge. I want vengeance. But it's just like you have to go by the way of the Lord and everything like that. But it's just like, there's a difference. And I want people to understand that either you forgive or you, I don't want to say God is spiteful, but the way the Bible will tell it sometimes, just like, you know, he wanted the guy to not spill his seed. He spilled his seed and you saw what happened. So it's just like, be very mindful.
Have you held my bad?
No, go ahead.
Have you like held your tongue in certain situations and not said how you really feel? Just
I feel like I didn't even know this was the year of Aquarians, but it makes sense. I feel like every day I'm being tested. And I work in the beauty industry, so everyone's constantly,
oh, there's some ugly motherfuckers in there.
no, not even people
Not
are
even that.
constantly
People just
looking at me.
Bring negative
I come
energy for
home
no reason.
And I tell them
I'm
things
sorry.
all
I
the
just wanna-
time. I feel like people are constantly looking at me and like judging and trying to pick certain things apart. And I'm learning to not feel uncomfortable because I make other people,
uncomfortable.
feel
Oh,
uncomfortable.
exactly.
Yes.
And I feel like that's my main thing.
Because
I'm
your
doing
light
now.
is too bright and they're not ready for that.
Right, especially dealing in the beauty industry, it's very, very narcissistic, very vain, and that's just not who I am. You know, I like hanging out, being silly, having fun, and sometimes I feel like, all right, this might make this person a little uncomfortable. Let me just chill out. Let me not, talk so much. But it's just like I shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't
And
have to
I'm
dim
not-
yourself
right,
in order for
dim my
somebody
light
else.
to make someone else feel
For
better.
yes.
That
I
has
feel
to be
like-
so tough in the beauty industry, I imagine, because like you have to keep
Especially
it
as a
that
black
image.
woman, because
As
I
a
feel
black
like
woman,
black
and
women,
then-
we hate on each other
Who's
so
more
much.
beautiful?
So it's
Black
just like, but especially in the beauty industry, you have a lot of other women of color who work in the industry with you. How is it to feel when you have somebody who looks just like you hating on you?
I have been fortunate enough to meet a lot of the women who I'm cool with in the beauty industry. We're really close and we uplift each other. It's usually the people on the outside looking in who don't really understand it, and they feel insecure about themselves, and
That's
so
where
they
it
like
always
to
comes
project that their insecurities on us.
That's where it always
And
comes from.
coming from a woman who I've been on a weight loss journey, I've lost a lot of weight, so these ladies see a different version of me and they don't know how to handle that, and it makes them uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
Like,
So
why
weird.
are you tripping? Like, why are you being so
Yeah.
mean and
Because
nasty
now you're a
towards
threat
me?
to them.
Yeah.
Before it was just like, you was probably just a cute little
The
fat
cute,
girl.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh no, this bitch is bad. Hold on.
Yeah.
And it makes me. I was telling someone, I said, it's not that I'm being rude or stuck up, but like you make me feel uncomfortable about who I am now.
Of course.
You make me feel like a whole science project. Like, what was wrong with me before? You
And
know?
that's the self-fulfilling
Weird.
prophecies. When people have this assumption about who you are now
Right.
and how you act, you just automatically fall into that because
Yeah.
you know what, you expect this, and now I'm kind of falling into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely can understand that.
And
I want to ask, like, maybe for your podcast page and your individual pages, like as you get more followers, more attention, it's like, does that like build any pressure to keep up a certain image for yourselves? 'Cause,
I think
people have certain expectations for you, and like when they listen to an episode, like maybe a new listener will be like, "Yo, this person was funny this episode, but next episode they weren't." So do you feel like any pressure to keep up a certain image for yourselves?
I've never. It's weird because you have to think about the listener, but I've never thought about the listener.
You
But,
did
you
give
know,
that
earlier
advice
you
before.
I don't know
said
who's
that.
listening. Honestly, I don't
Earlier
know.
you said that you noticed that when somebody came to you and said, "Oh, hey, you're the guy from Sophisticated Ignorance." So now when you get up every day, you go to work. Do you find yourself like putting yourself a little bit more together in case you do have people out there watching you and not realizing that they're watching?
Why are you looking at
They're
me?
just scared to
And real quick, like
and
whether
they're
you,
just scared to say anything to you.
and whether you acknowledge it or not, like you are part of these people's weeks. Like you're
Yeah.
making these people's
You're part of
days.
their
Like that's a
lives.
lot. That's like
I feel like maybe that's like Steven like to say I have a childlike innocence about me. Maybe that's what it is. Like I don't really see it that way. It's like I'm mad regular. Like hey, but I understand that I might make people uncomfortable at times because as women, I might be like, "Oh my god, you look so cute today," and sometimes they'll just be like, "Thank you," and I'm like, "Well, damn,
Yeah.
you know, being
Yeah.
nice."
You were being genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that,
I'm one
and
of
it's
those
like,
people.
what the
I
shit?
hate compliments. I don't like them. So it's like you give me a compliment, I'm just like, bitch, shut the fuck up, like.
Yeah.
So that's
You have to
because,
learn to take
I
the
was raised in a
compliment.
house where nobody ever
They're
gave me
weird.
a compliment, so a compliment makes me a little. It's like don't look
Compliments
at me,
are weird as
yeah.
fuck.
Like why you?
I used to
why
tell
you
people
looking
shut
at
up
me?
when they would
Why you-
compliment me because I
Don't
felt so weird by
compliment
it.
me.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
raised the
Didn't get
opposite
one.
way. Like
Yeah.
it was a lot of backhanded compliments in my family. We're from the South. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so
Yeah.
You a cute little chubby girl. They might give you a compliment, but it's a little backhanded compliment to where for me it's like I want to make everybody feel good.
Yeah.
So that's where mine is coming from, like a very innocent way.
my mama always told me she never gave me a compliment because she wanted to keep me humble in life because she was just like girls was going to hate me when I was growing up. It was just true. I didn't have any girlfriends growing up, and she was just like, no, I needed you to feel right here. So when you went, because I grew up in a project, so it was just like when I went outside, never felt like I was right here because that's was just like attract a lot of things. It was just like even
Makes
when I
sense.
didn't feel like that, I still got the bullies, but it was just like, bitch, you should have just let me be who I was gonna be.
Right.
yeah,
Pick
like
on me anyway.
They was gonna pick on me anyway, so it was just like because it fucked me up.
At
in the
least let me
long
get my
run.
shit
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
It took
like-
me a long time to finally realize, like, yo, bitch, you kind of okay. Like, let's go out here.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's like feel weird about compliments. Like,
Yeah, I
started,
don't like
like when
that.
I started working out, like that's when I started getting more compliments, and like I'm so used to like getting that hate and the disrespect and the jokes and shit like that. So it's just like, what's your motive? Like, what?
Yeah,
why are you
yeah.
telling? Why are you
telling
saying
me
this
all
to me?
the
So
That
it's
used to be
like,
my reaction,
it's
too.
so,
Like,
it's
bitch, I'm
so
broke. I ain't
weird.
got no money for you. I can't take you nowhere.
Yeah, like what you
Yeah,
want? Like
like-
you're
What you want?
they're angling for something. in other
Disrespect
words.
me to make me
You
feel
better take
comfortable.
this
I
check
get,
this
I get
meal.
both sides of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
so
maybe
weird.
I'm just naive because when people give me compliments, I be mad happy. Oh my god, really? I just tried a new soap.
He be mad open. He be mad open.
Like, yo, yeah,
Ciara got mad
it's
compliment.
coconut oil. It's coconut oil.
Ciara got mad compliments on the thinking, by the
great
way.
skin. CR has great skin. He was like, for real, dude. I'm like, listen, you got good skin. Like, shut up.
That's funny. The
That's
only
my guy right there.
'cause that's only been happening to me recently. Like, cause for a long period of time I was always clean cut, and then I think right before we started the show, like I wanted to just switch it up, and that's when I started to grow my beard, and then that's when I started to get compliments. But now I start to feel like that when our photographer like she be mad hype when I like get a shape up, and she be like, yo, your skin look good. Like,
Yo,
you
that
take-
shit
Went
gives-
off on
yo.
all
That's
the
what's
pictures.
up.
That
And I
makes
was
you
like,
feel
first of
good.
all,
Shout out to
mad.
her.
shout out
I'm
to
here
AV.
too.
Yo, for those that don't know, bro, a haircut is very transformative for a male, bro. Once you get a fresh haircut
I
or a
never
shape,
thought
you
about
a
that.
new
I always
nigga,
wanna see
dog.
your
My barber is
new
my
nigga,
barber is in
dog.
DR right now,
You
so
know, I
when he
fuck
come
around
back,
with bitches, so I don't really pay y'all no attention. But then I have a lot of male friends, and I feel y'all really do feel yourself when y'all get a haircut. Like,
What?
it's like a new life.
That's like
it's
seeing a new
existence
wig. I'd
right
be
there.
like, it's
Exactly.
A new wig,
Same
new walk.
thing.
New
Same thing. Can't tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing. You better respect this hairline.
Eyebrow lady, do your eyebrows just right. You be like, bitch, yes, skin is clear.
Feeling ourselves.
So you mentioned like you listen to Tax Stone before you started your podcast, but do you guys, both of you, do you still listen to podcasts in general as fans? From a fan standpoint?
It's hard for me now. When I used to listen on the regular, I used to have like a longer commute to work, but now I work really close to where I work at right now, so my commute is like 30 minutes.
Oh.
So by the time I even start a show, I'm not even halfway there. So it's hard for me to keep up. And then I've developed so many like friends through the podcast community, and they're like so many different topics. Like you got sex positive podcasts, you got current events. So it's like,
Sex positivity.
yeah. And then the kind of work I do,
Oversaturated as fuck, by the way.
What? I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. I feel like people are still
but I
misinformed.
I think those
About
are.
sex?
About
Yes.
I do.
Definitely.
People are
I think
still
those
misinformed about
those
sex.
podcasts are important because for
They
a long
are.
period of time, especially for women of color, they're not allowed to be sexy
Can I say something?
and be, informative about sex.
People don't realize women of color are having a hard time giving birth now
I heard about that.
because of all the birth control.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I ended up having losing weight and going through my journey, because I was having issues with bearing children and getting
You
pregnant
see?
and other reactions. It was just like a whole bunch, to the point I was telling Stephen earlier, I'm like, remember when I used to come to the studio and I had to take all this medicine, like my hands would be shaking. Like it's really hard.
And that's something
Really,
so
really hard.
my sister yesterday, she just got implanted for IVF. I'm so excited. I
Yay.
cannot wait. She goes back June 18th to
To
make
find
sure
out.
everything is perfect
Right.
in there. And I told her to put like 3 eggs in there. If everything separates, it's okay. I got you, girl.
Wait. So like not after like you use birth control and then you don't use it.
So
it
my
affects
sister,
you
and
later on
the
after
story
that.
of my
Definitely.
sister, she happened to get her period when she was like 9 years old.
Okay.
So it was, you're not supposed to get your period that young. So when that happens, you get medicine to kind of prolong it, and then once you get off the medicine, it's a little bit bad. So, she was on birth control because she had such horrible periods that the birth control regulated everything and kind of subdued the cramps. So if you're on birth control from like year 15, 16, she got married when she was 18, and her husband, they did not want to have a kid right away because they wanted to, get their house,
Establish
build their life,
themselves, yeah.
establish themselves as a married couple. And now that they're 33, they're 30, well, I'm 32, she's 34, she's ready. She had to do the IVF process, and it was
She
just
lost
heartening.
Too many of the eggs.
She lost too many of the eggs, and then one of her fallopian tubes is a little closed, so it was just like a whole nother process for her. So she was at a disadvantage. And thank God for her insurance, because that whole process is like thousands and thousands
Yeah.
of
Very
dollars,
expensive. Yeah.
and her insurance covered 99% of it. She only
Where
had
does
to come
she
out of
work?
pocket
Goddamn.
$1,000.
Where does she work? What
That's
industry?
great.
She
Shit.
works for at that point for Temple University Hospital, but she is a
The
nurse, so
healthcare
it's just like
industry.
she
That's
works
why.
in the
Yeah.
healthcare industry. So thank God,
They're
feel
very
like
understanding, apparently.
Yes.
I feel like from a dude perspective, like when you think of a girl on birth control, it's like, oh shit, it's lit, like no condom, like
Oh,
fuck
you
that.
feel
lit.
me?
Yeah, no,
But like it's
But
deeper than that.
deeper
It's
than that,
really,
yeah.
it's really
Of course.
like
When you come
it
off and
is.
you want
Long-term
to
effects.
procreate, you have an
That's
issue.
crazy.
And that's something we do not talk about in the Black community. Like I just saw a report a little week ago that how we're not replenishing ourselves. This
The birth rate,
generation,
yeah.
the birth rate is just going
dropping.
down and down. We're having less babies in the past 4 years. So the generations are not replacing themselves no more.
Well, I read an article in 2050, there's not gonna be even a world to even live in anymore.
I read that article
I
this
saw
morning.
that article. I didn't read
So
it.
it's just
That's
like,
I
about
didn't read
global
it.
warming
What's
and
the point
greenhouse
even-
gases.
yo, I'm so fearful of having a kid. It's just like, what am I bringing them in the world to?
This is
Like nothing.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully in 2050 come like I'm somewhere and having smoking with Bob Marley and shit.
All right now.
Is that your goal in life to smoke about Marley?
Oh,
Out of
yeah.
all people in life,
That's her goal in afterlife.
It's a lot of people. It's the afterlife. Yeah, it's like I
Ah.
want to
That's
smoke
my
with
Jim
all
Morrison.
the greats.
That's
Like
my
yeah,
guy.
all the greats. You want to smoke with Bob Dylan,
I
everybody.
would. Shit.
Like Snoop Dogg gonna be there before me, so
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
him too.
Roll it
I don't
up.
think Snoop ever gonna die. Actually, that nigga
Not for nothing. I strongly believe there's some people who just will not die. Like they just
never die.
There's a punishment.
You think it's one? You think me? You think I'm ever gonna die?
You're gonna die, baby.
God.
Damn.
And I don't
How
think like
soon,
no
though?
time soon. Like you're gonna live a long, healthy life, but it's just like there's some people who is just like they bury their children and their children don't bury them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Whoa, fuck.
And I was
Whoa, fuck. I'm
They
dead.
got deep right there
I'll
for
be
you.
dead soon.
That got dark.
God.
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
Definitely
Real
got
quick, real
dark.
quick.
Fuck it. We gotta be out. What you show me the time for?
5
minutes?
Yeah, we
Wow.
got
Fuck,
5
I have so
minutes.
many more
Time
minutes.
has
Time
been
flew by
flying.
really quick.
Can
right?
you let us know when we're done so I
That's
can
why I
stop?
asked.
Because I
It's
have
2
so many
hours
more
in.
questions. Fuck, 5 minutes is so much
okay.
pressure.
It's okay.
Come on.
they're gonna
Say
they're
anything.
gonna come back on the.
Take
Say
it home now.
anything.
Take it
Got
home now.
this.
We're trying to do an episode of men versus women in a sense. So I
We
was
will
just like we
always
had.
What's the what? You've been pushing that for a while.
I'm
What is
down.
that man
That's
versus women
dope.
episode?
Thank you, CR.
What is the
Like,
man versus women episode? What are you trying to push that for a while? What's up with that? What are we?
It's
What do you?
good. I like that idea.
Thank you.
But what are you trying to debate? Like, what's the man? What are we debating? What are we talking
Different
about?
questions,
we
yeah,
get there.
different questions. And me and Kim and CR will, me and Coco CR will figure it out, and we'll let you know when the day comes. Okay?
Now you got
You
3
just show
minutes
up.
to ask your questions.
There you go.
You just show up.
I just
Show
show
up.
up.
Yes.
Just show
Just
up.
show up.
I heard you.
Thanks.
So, I mean, 5 minutes is a short amount of time.
You
Jesus
guys
Christ.
Now it's 3. Guess what?
3?
Yes.
Well, let's
Yeah.
use it.
Let's
and,
go.
you know.
Why y'all putting the question?
pressure.
Like, I know I
Everybody
created.
back off.
I created this
Feels
shit.
pressure.
Why do I have to ask the questions? Like,
So,
I'm
Hey, yo.
nervous right now. Like,
Well,
I'm
2.5
scared.
minutes.
do
Going
you feel
towards
like
the
with
wrap
everything going on? Because I feel like black men have become the face of Me Too, unfortunately. With R. Kelly, with
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. How does that affect you as a black man in America? Do you feel like you have to be you work in corporate in a sense? You seem like
I work in tech.
tech. Okay, there we go.
You
Lazy
got
Can you
that
fix
ass
my
check.
laptop,
worker.
yeah?
You getting that
This
check.
one here.
But that means you have different people who call you every day to come by the computers. Have you ever felt like you was in a situation where there was like a paper lady telling you to fix the computer and she was just like bam, or whatever the case is, you know?
Not definitely not in my current job. There's been weird situations at like a previous employer with like that was more retail, so it would be like I used to work at FedEx Kinko's, so
Okay.
there'll be like chicks that would come in and be like printing out their nudes and shit.
Lit.
I never tell you
Whoa.
You told me other stuff. I ain't
Oh.
know. I'm
There
not
was-
What's the ratio
Print out their
between
nudes.
What's the ratio
That's
between the
different.
trash and the fire nudes? Like,
the
From-
you don't have a
Yeah.
photographer. Why the fuck you at Kinko's?
Exactly.
Listen,
Whatever.
man,
There's so many
listen.
questions.
It's
Yeah,
probably your favorite Instagram
Call me
star
if you
too.
need a
who did that.
photographer. For your
I don't
nudes.
remember these
Ladies
people,
Way 15.
but
That's bold.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a creep, so I don't have to be concerned about my behavior when it comes to that. Like, I respect people's boundaries the same way I expect them to respect my
Because
boundaries.
flirting on the job is natural. I feel like a lot of cheating happens at work. As it offers over romances.
Work wives, work husbands. and whatnot.
Keep it low,
Work
keep
wives,
it low.
work husbands. Because I feel like what was the black guy who worked for PBS, Tavis Smiley, and he came under fire because he was just like, you work with people, you're a little flirtatious. Why does it have to be that I'm sexually assaulting you?
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, you gotta be. I think men fail to like recognize people's body language.
Yes.
So sometimes a woman may not
Ignorance.
feel comfortable,
She's not
especially
Or they just
receptive.
disregard it altogether.
especially if he's a superior. So you gotta like if she makes a certain face or she kind of cringes when you say certain things. Clearly,
She's not
the
feeling
energy is not mutual.
Right.
So
as men, we just don't get it sometimes, and we gotta really look in the mirror and acknowledge that fact. We just don't get it. Like when a woman's not interested, she's not into you.
No
bro.
means no, goddammit.
So you like to do this one particular thing in the podcast where you ask people not to sleep on something?
Oh, she said it
Fuck,
perfectly.
we're at that point already.
Yes,
we have a
we
segment
are.
on this podcast.
And I wanted to ask you a question, but it was just like, I don't want to play with the new studio, new time, so let's just be
Chill out.
Wrap it up.
We have a segment on this podcast called "Don't Sleep," where we basically recommend to the audience something you shouldn't sleep on, whether it be a new album, whether it be as simple as your podcast or advice or whatever.
don't sleep.
And this week, my podcast, my shit, I'm fucked up. My fucking "Don't Sleep"
I'm the only
is.
one who can handle my Hennessy.
Yeah.
I didn't eat though.
I didn't
Remember
have
that.
any.
Drink Hennessy.
My "Don't Sleep" is don't sleep on like the concept of disregarding your ego, right? So the event that I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, don't press play, is about disregarding competition and working together, right? And I feel people get their ego mixed up into the idea of working together with certain people. Maybe they feel like they're bigger than somebody or they're better than somebody, and I just feel like you're not, right? We're all better, right? We're not just better than somebody. So I feel like disregard your ego, work with your neighbor, work with your friend, and grow together, because I feel like that's the only way we'll ever, especially people of color, will ever get to that level of like success if we would just work together and stick together, because we're being held back. Whether we acknowledge it or not, we're being held back, and I think we need to work together in order to get to that next level.
Good speech.
Next, Coco.
Don't sleep on Sophisticated Ignorance. Check out their podcast. Download, listen to them, follow them, check them out. That's my don't sleep today. Let's
Don't
go.
sleep on Hennessy.
I would say don't
Okay.
sleep on supporting your friends. If your friends have a podcast, have something that they're creative about, definitely support them. Don't wait for them to ask you to support.
Integrity. I know you're listening. Integrity.
CR.
CR.
Don't sleep on Hennessy.
Yeah.
Don't
Right
sleep
now,
Hennessy
on
month.
Love, Peace, and Beats.
I'm a little
Out
wavy.
now.
Oh yeah, that is
It's a
out.
great
The album
album.
is out.
It's a great album.
But I would say, just don't sleep on creating platforms for people that do what you do. Like me, I'm an artist, and I share my platform. Even though I'm not Drake or J. Cole, I still got a little stain in my hood. So I
You a
put
light skinned Drake.
Jumping out the frame records.
I mean, a dark skinned Drake. My bad. You a dark skinned Drake.
chill.
You got
But,
some emotional shit on
We
your
gonna talk
album.
about the whole Drake thing because I have a whole theory on Drake.
We're not talking about
Next
Drake
episode.
ever.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
No more
can
hair
I
for
finish?
him. He's
Let's
cut
go
off.
to y'all.
Can I
Don't
finish?
sleep.
I'm just trying to end. I'm just trying to get to.
I don't even think it was done.
I'm
Yeah,
not
he
even
wasn't
done.
My bad. Okay, I'm trying to.
Hey yo.
Laney, shut up.
But yeah, so no matter what level you're at, there's somebody who's still trying to get to where you are, who wish they would have what you have. So share it. Even at this level, at the entry level where I am at, I still share my platform with different artists and people that are from my neighborhood. And believe it or not, it actually boosts what I'm trying to build. So
Collaboration is key.
collaboration is key. Make
Shout
sure
out
you
to
share
the
that
event over the
platform.
weekend.
Say it again.
The
Yeah,
event
okay.
you did over the weekend.
Yes. Oh, by the way, there is a pool party that I want to invite you guys to. By the way, I'll talk about that off
I
there.
can't swim, but I'm going.
Fuck it.
Sophisticated Endurance Podcast. What is something that you feel our listeners shouldn't sleep on this week? Whether it be your podcast, whether it be whatever.
Obviously, the podcast, of course, it's all on all streaming platforms. You can check out the website, sipodcast.com. Don't sleep on the live show that's coming on June 30th. You could get the tickets at sipodcast/events.
Keep going.
Yeah, we just have a good time. We talk real shit. We have great guests. And then what else? What else? Don't sleep. I've been really big on women in rap. Like, they run this shit right now.
Malibu Mitch, shout out.
Shout out Cash Doll, Megan Thee Stallion. I fuck with y'all.
Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
Auntie
She fine
Cash
as
Doll.
hell. Did we just say that at the same time?
Yeah.
Well, Auntie Cash Doll?
Oh, I thought we both said she fine as hell.
Oh, she is fine as hell.
I
I
think we
didn't
said
hear
that
that
at
at
the
all.
same
Naeem, what is something people shouldn't sleep on this week?
Do not sleep on your inner power and your voice. Do
Let's
not
go.
I
sleep.
say.
Don't
Speak
sleep
on
on
it.
setting boundaries, and definitely don't sleep on just loving everybody around you. Don't sleep.
Yeah.
Don't
like that.
sleep on accepting the fact that it's okay to not be okay.
I like that.
Amen.
Oh, and don't sleep on my other show, Culture Podcast,
Gang.
with my co-host Bianca, who's
Gang.
also the executive producer. Great music show. We've had DJ Clark Kent. We've had Low Key from Duce Palooza. We just had DJ Steph Cakes. Like, we making moves out here.
Nice.
what's up.
I genuinely hope that you guys enjoyed your time here tonight.
Of course.
I hope you guys potentially come back. I will go to your
they're
live show
coming
on the
back.
30th.
Sounds cool.
And
yeah.
I will
Check it
continue
out.
listening because I'm genuinely a fan of
appreciate
you
it.
individually
Yeah, for having
and
us.
collectively
Thank
as a
you.
podcast. And yeah, if you enjoyed this podcast, please follow them. What's your Instagram? The Instagram for the show?
SI Podcast.
Follow them, SI Podcast
On
on
Instagram.
Instagram. And follow us at Introverted Intuition Pod. And whatever medium you listen to this podcast on, whether it be Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, whatever rating system they have, please utilize that because it definitely keeps us going. And it
Leave us
definitely
reviews.
It's nice to look at the reviews, man.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful
It
and
is
so.
cool.
Shout out to Gotham Podcast. Like, this is such a great new studio.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Yo, word.
Our first time in the new
word.
studio, so it's
Yes.
pretty cool.
If you're an audio listener, you may not believe us, but we are in a new studio. So, yeah, we are here, and we're going to be here
Just
for a
thank
long
you.
time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
for
for
having
listening. We
us.
appreciate you.
Later.
Bye.
Deuces.
Yeah.